Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Derek Yale. Derek Yale. Derek Yale.
Derek Yale.
Derek Yale.
No fronting, can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something, let it be no fronting.
We feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions, and this panel comes with different styles in discussing national issues.
I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
If you are living a glass hot, don't throw stone.
No fronting, can't talk cause I'm up to something now. I'm up to something.
Sorry about that. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you again for joining us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And as you know, the Liberia Radio and Television Network is a local media institution right here in Northeast Philadelphia, and we also have our office in Liberia. So do us a favor and follow this network on Facebook and YouTube, and also make sure to encourage your friends and family to do the same. And if you follow our page, you will get live coverage of events in Liberia, from political events to you name it, any event that media institution can cover. So make sure you follow the LRTN. LRTN tonight is proud to present episode 10, season 4 of The Hard Zone. And if this is your first time joining us, The Hard Zone here is a opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political ideologies and persuasions. So just to give you a highlight of what's coming up on this episode, we'll bring you our current event, and we will also bring you our panelists right after there. And on the current event tonight, we have a current event here in the diaspora and current event from Liberia. And also, as you know, we will have our panelists give you their take on the runoff that is scheduled to take place next week, the 14th of November. So we will have our panelists give you their final words on who to support for, whether it's the re-election of President Weah or the elections of Ambassador Jose Yeman Boakai. So we will have our panelists bring you that discussion. And then right after there, we will bring you our icebreaker, and then we will have our panelists give you the closing remark and then draw the curtain to this episode. Last week, we had a discussion surrounding the case with Spoon Network CEO. So this week, we will continue that conversation. We're hoping to have our counselor on so that we can have all of the information surrounding the sentencing of Stanton Witherspoon, the former CEO of the Spoon Network. But for now, let me bring you the current events we have in our current event folder, beginning with the diaspora. You know, this week Tuesday was election day here in the United States, and we have a big news. This is one, the son of Liberia, in person of David Bantu, a Democratic candidate. He wins the election that was held on November 7th for the Upper Darby 6th District Council. And just a little information on Mr. Bantu. He is a former Liberian refugee, was born and raised in the small town in West Africa, obviously Liberia, and he moved to the United States in 1998 as a refugee. He resided in the 6th District since 2005 with his wife and 4 children, and he currently works in social services field and as a community organizer. So he just won the elections as the Upper Darby 6th District Council. Moving on to other current events in Liberia, beginning with current event number 1, the President of Liberia, President George Manneh Weah, has by proclamation declared Tuesday, November 14, as national holiday to allow eligible voters to vote in the runoff presidential between Unity Party, Joseph Yobo Boakai, and of course, President Weah. The president has declared a similar holiday during the first round of voting on October 10th. So November 14th has been declared as a national holiday. If you had to go to work that day, you don't have to go to work now. So you can go and make your voices heard, go and vote a candidate of your choice. Moving on to another current event, we have here President Weah dismisses Deputy Foreign Minister Henry Fambule. An executive marshal statement said the president dismissed him for administrative reasons. He took the position in 2020. Our next current event, and this one with another current event, will actually be the current event discussion. Finance Minister Samuel Twell was chased out of the G.W. Gibson School on Tuesday by public school students. When the minister told the students that the government would feed them for 3 days, the students grew enraged. And they chanted, "We don't want food, we want a better education and a better learning environment." They pounded on Minister Twell's car as he escaped the chaotic scene. Moving on to our final current event, and after that, we'll introduce our panelists for the episode. Unity Party is working to have its recruited or hired Ghanaian IT specialist released. In advance of the November 14th presidential runoff election, the Unity Party have brought in the man, or that is the IT specialist, to train pool watchers and others. The government believes this IT specialist is interfering with the national elections process. The Ghanaian IT specialist was detained, according to party spokesman Mo Ali, as a result of CDC misinformation and propaganda. That's what we have for you in our current event folder. Let me at this time introduce our panelists, and then we will take a break after the introduction, and then we will have our current event discussion surrounding topics I just announced. Let me start with you, Reverend Adi. Welcome to episode 10, season 4 of The Horizon. You're muted.
Thank you very much. Greetings to all of you esteemed panelists, the Liberian people watching the diaspora in Liberia, if you're up. It's a pleasure to be back once more to talk about our beloved country, Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. Mr. Boda, welcome to episode 10, season 4 of The Horizon.
Thank you for having me. And fellow panelists, you're welcome. Appreciate it. I have fun talk with you guys tonight, and hope that we can discuss modern Liberia.
Thank you very much. Mr. John Winkin Weah, welcome.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Thank you, fellow panelists. Well, we have Tuesday as the day Liberia will decide whether Weah or Boakai will be the next president for the next 6 years. So Liberians, we need to talk about that tonight, and we need to put up our minds and heart to Mama Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Winkin Weah. Bishop Sivas Reeves, welcome to episode 10, season 4 of The Horizon.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you very much. And to all of you watching us, let me say a big welcome. Welcome to all of you. Thank you again for joining us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. At this time, I would like to ask you to please share the program so that your friends and family may be able to benefit from the discussion we have set up for you tonight. And let me begin with our current event discussion. I know the runoff is scheduled for next week, the 14th on Tuesday. But I want us to talk briefly about this development as well as was announced in the current event. The one concerning former Minister Samuel Twell. Election is just four or 5 days away when that happened. And what does that say of the current administration, and also on the issue of Unity Party IT especially being detained? So I want you guys to give me your take on that. Let me start with you, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. After this discussion, we'll take a break and then get into our discussion for the night. Mr. Weah.
Well, I do not know the details about the detention of the IT. Whether he's working in the country legally or not is another thing. But whatever is the situation, the law should take a course, and if he didn't do anything wrong, I believe that he should be released. Regarding the visit of the finance minister, that has been the attitude of the Liberian people that I was talking about, or that I've always spoken about. The people in Liberia, they need opportunity to make their own money. They don't need to be given money. They need education, as the children said. So it's very simple for Minister Tua to have on the campus, if that is true, to offer money for 3 days so that the children can go CDC. I think that is wrong for Liberia. We need to do better. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. John Winkin. Do you think, let me get the other panelists before I ask any question. Let me hear from you, Mr. Boda. Give us a take on this development. Minister 12 being chased out of GW Gibson High School, and also United Party artists especially being detained by the Liberia National Police. Talk to us. Mr. Boda, are you there?
It's not this. Huh?
Yeah, go ahead. No, you're fine. It's just first for a couple. Just 1 second. Go ahead.
It's kind of disingenuous on the part of Minister 12 in the crucial time of elections that you want to go to a public school that is in dire need of support to promising feeling because you want to gain favor for elections. That is so despicable to note on the part of a leader who have championed someone like Samuel Tua, who went through the rank and file of public school, understanding what it means to go to Tottenham Hall, understanding what it means to live in a deplorable situation. And now he holds the state power. He's a minister of finance. He's driving the economy of that country. It's sad that they have to treat our young generation in such a mean way that it's so terrible, And it shouldn't be happening in our society. These are not the people that are supposed to represent our young generation.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Boda. Let's talk to you, Bishop Reeves. Give us a take on those two developments.
Well, I only saw a clip, and I can't say much about what happened, to that. I didn't like what I saw, but I can't really speak for or against because
if you say what exactly you did not like, you say you didn't like what you saw. So what did you see?
Well, I saw two clips. One, I don't know what the purpose of him going to the school. I saw one clip with the people shouting, George, we are, and I saw another clip with the students kicking on the car. I couldn't make sense of both of them. I mean, what was going on over there? I didn't like that.
Thank you very much. We'll come back to you, Reverend Adi. Let me hear from you the development involving Minister 12 and also the one with the IT specialist.
This is the challenge personally I'm having with Bishop Reeves. Let me make this zone hard right now. You look at the state of our nation in the context of our youths, where the government is exploiting the poverty of our students in the interest of the political elections. And you look at the reality wherein students are expressing their disdain, how they've been abandoned and neglected by this government, Bishop, by going to them to tell them they will feed them for the next 3 days when their schools, when their labs are broken down, they don't have quality education happening. And in the midst of an election season, government goes there and tell them that, we'll feed you for 3 days. And you don't find that insulting? You say you couldn't make sense of that, Bishop? It makes total sense. They sent a message, a clear message to this government. that
So
have
what?
clearly
Okay,
overlooked
so
them and is
Mr.
exploiting the plight
Bishop
of the
Reeves,
Liberian people,
let
has
Reverend
no
Ali
real
to finish.
investment. Bishop Reeves, you know, you've been very defensive, quite frankly, at defending the Joel Howard Taylor. But I can now understand because you know you have some type of affinity for her, and so you wouldn't criticize his government. The children were very clear. They are lambasting their government for abandoning their future, their destiny. Not only that, but we see a government who's abusing power, arresting somebody who happens to be a consultant for the Unity Party in the midst of these elections. And up to now, they have been, quite frankly, silent on this reality. And you look at all of that, especially our students, our precious jewel, those who our nation's foundation will be built on for tomorrow, are expressing themselves in the midst of government's hopeless, incompetent policies that are affecting them. And you look at that video and you see you can't make sense of it. I'm very much disturbed. Not only that, people, let's look at these elections. The government has, in fact, people came out of the speaker's office. The NEC have planted people all in the different areas as magistrates. All of these things are consistent with the elections irregularities. A press conference today was held by Unity Party, expressing those issues peacefully by informing the NEC. Nothing is being done. Nothing has been done. So let's be clear. Yes, you know, when we come to these discussions, we got to learn to be clear. There is no one size fits all, and there is no neutrality here. The students of Liberia, our nation's future, we off the stage now. But these children have expressly stated, you know, this idea that they are ignorant, they don't know what they want, you know, they just vote people. It's not true. They know what they want. They want a better future. They want a better life. And they also want to experience the life that those of us, by the grace of God, who are privileged to be living in America can experience. That's what they were crying for today.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from you, Bishop Reeves. I know you had a rebuttal.
Yeah. Okay. So I take it that we're in a hard zone. And I can see that Pastor Addy is trying to drag me into a place that I don't want to go, because if I go, he himself would not be able to stand the hard zone. His back would be broken. So
please go there.
Yeah. When I said to you that I was kind of disturbed, the first thing, what did Samuel Tuah go to do to the school? Did he go there to just go tell the students, we're going to feed you for 3 days? Does anybody know what was the basis of that visit? Can anybody tell me what happened there? Yeah, I need to know, because if I don't know the basis of the visit and why Samuel Tuah got up and I didn't even hear him say he's giving them food for 3 days. I did not hear that. Okay, so I can't just get up and say, because somebody said, because the student said he said he would give us food for 3 days, and I just jumped the bandwagon and trash anything. And I'm not defending nobody. You don't want to hear my side about. I stand on the place of integrity. If George Weah and his government not doing what it's supposed to do, I would deal with them. If Bweka is not doing what it's supposed to do, I would deal with them. And I have a lot in my cup. So when I said to you that I could not really make any sense of it, because I can't just get up and bash whatever I saw, because I don't know the background of it. That's why I'm asking the question. Did you hear something?
I think Reverend Adi wanted to help with the background of that. Do you care? Because I saw your hands up. Do you want to like try me real quick? Reverend Adi.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So Derek, let's be fair. You provided a summary of the background. The story of the minister is that he had gone there to discuss about the Millennium Development Challenge and how they've passed it. Okay? And it was in that process, when he got through speaking and he told the children about feeding them for the next 3 days, that led into an uproar. And that uproar led to the video you saw. But forget about what he said. Let's take the facts of what you saw. You have children telling you in their anger, in their rage, we don't want food. We want a better life. We want good schools. We want better labs. We want quality education. And you can't speak to that, to those basic facts based upon what you saw. And you say, oh no, I can't speak to it because I don't know what happened. Just the fact that they said, we don't want your rice. Okay, this is not what we want. We want a better life. We want better labs. We want quality teachers. We want better life. That's not enough to speak to?
No. I agree. I agree to the fact that the students said what they wanted.
The facts.
Yeah. I agree to the fact that the students says what they wanted. I agree to that. I mean, we were in school and we did similar thing. I can tell you that. I was in Tottenham High School. We did the same thing. All right. We told the representative from the government what we wanted. So I agreed to that. But I was not well acquainted with the background of what happened. That's why I just said to you before you.
Yeah, but speaking of that, let me ask you this, the Reverend and Bishop Reeves.
Yes, sir.
You saw the video. You said there are things about the video that you don't like. Now let's look at it from the action of the students. Would you condemn the students for the way they carry out their protest by pounding on the minister car? And I mean, election is just around the
No,
corner.
I don't. Okay, so I don't accept. Well, listen, I can express myself without being violent. Okay, I saw the students banging, kicking the car. That was not called for. All right.
What about you, Mr. Weir? Would you condemn the student attitude in the way they protest?
Well, anything that has to do with violence is not good for any society. They have the right to protest, but the idea of damaging any property, I think, is wrong, in my opinion. As I said before, if Tua really went to that school to tell the children that you feed them for 3 days for the sake of the election, then it was very disgraceful.
I mean, let me play devil advocate for a second. What is really wrong with him feeding them for 3 days?
Well, aside from this regime, I have been speaking against the idea of patronage governance system from the one of the country that's killing us. I hate that idea where people would depend on somebody to give them money to do this. We need opportunity for the children to go to school. They need empowering opportunity to earn their own money. They want to go home, Papa coming home. They don't need to go to somebody. We got a society where when your wife pregnant, then the time comes, you go to somebody's office to wait that tomorrow you're getting birth. That is bad. So it means that our government has not been working for our people.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. Let me hear from you, Mr. Boda. Do you think, first of all, would you condemn the way the student protested against the minister promising to feed them for 3 days? And also, I saw you laughing when I asked the question. What could be wrong?
Provocation. Provocation is a look. The first, I'm not against the student behavior. It was not.
You're not against. It was not violent. They were pounding on the minister car.
I'm not because of provocation. That grows.
So you're saying it's okay to do that?
Yes. You cannot continue to disrespect the people that you serve and the generation that you claim to support for future. Mr. Tua knows better. He knows why he went to that campus. It was not for Millennium Fund, nothing. But he was using the Millennium Fund to kind of make it think that the children are novice or they're stupid enough that he continue to fool around with them, that he's doing something to make them feel happy to go vote for them. That's so wrong. You don't abuse people grossly like that. It's not about violence. You have to sometimes tell people what they're doing wrong. Tua knows that. When he was in Tottenham High, he would have done the same. These are people who stood in the vanguard of public service, student lives, and fought for student life and struggle and said, look, we need better for Liberian students. And now they got power. And they got shown no remorse for the student that they fought for.
Thank you, Boda and Mr. Boda. Before I come to you, Reverend Adi, let's just look at the clip of what happened on GW Gibson campus, and then
Mr. Boda is breaking up. Is that me?
I'm sorry.
Can you hear me, Reverend Adi? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Reverend Adi, are you here?
I don't know if you're
We
muted.
can hear you now, but we didn't hear Mr. Border at all. He was breaking up really bad. And when you were talking, you were breaking up.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I break up. I didn't know
It's
that.
still happening.
What? Could it be Mr.
Mr.
Alice?
Jawinkin is frozen on the screen.
Right,
Mr.
'cause
Border
I
looks like he's
heard-
frozen.
I heard everything. Mr.
Brother
Buddha
Reeves,
said.
Bishop Reeves look like he's frozen.
No, we are.
Well,
we
I
are,
think it's your
I
system though,
think it's your system, Reverend Adi.
because we can we can hear everything clear.
I'm not frozen. I can shake. You see, I'm talking.
I wonder if I was frozen. I don't think I did though. But
No,
No,
I will hear you clearly too.
The four of us.
Reverend Adi, do you want to
yeah.
go out and come back in? Yeah, I think that's gonna work. I think it's his system. But anyways,
frozen.
while we're waiting for that to be taken care of, let me encourage those of you watching us to
I didn't hear all down.
Loud and clear. I always heard you guys, except that when Brother Border was speaking, he came out distorted.
okay. We're
But I'm fine.
this one. But let's watch the video real quick, and then I'll ask you a question, Reverend Adi. Thank you very much, the production team, for that video. Let me ask you this question, Reverend Adi. I listened to Mr. Boda earlier. First, he said it was distasteful on the part of the minister, and he also said because it was provocative, so he doesn't have any issue with how the student protested. So, my first question would be: do you share that belief? And also, do you think this was politically motivated? And lastly, what could be wrong about the minister offering to feed school kids for 3 days?
You know what is more violent? It is important that we don't reduce this argument to a minister being chased out because he goes and insults the intelligence of people he thought were stupid because they are in uniforms as students. What is more violent, my friend, is to abort the destiny of young people, is to keep them ignorant in the midst of poor quality education, is to die in the midst of poverty, simply because of your self-righteousness and greed. Economic deprivation of the students. Did you not see the rage in their eyes? Nobody here supports violence. Absolutely not. They were exercising their constitutional duties. Yes, they may have, they kicked his car, okay? But if they wanted to hurt the minister, they wouldn't have allowed him to get in his car. But they were expressing their frustration. Nobody here sanctions violence. But the truth remains, we shouldn't reduce this thing and leave the larger issue. Did you see the video with the blind children the blind brothers and sisters of Liberia that they told to come from different parts of the city to go and get support, and they got there and got nothing, and this way had to find their way back to where they came from using their blind canes? This government is taking the Liberian people for joke. Let's be clear. They're taking the people for joke. For 5.5 years, you suffocated your own people with poor quality education, and you tell the person, I'm paying your tuition. Do you think those children aren't hungry? But they know what's best for them. Don't bring food to them. They've been already surviving. So don't minimize their integrity or their dignity to 3 days feeding because you feel that elections are coming, and therefore you're going to provide food for them. The same thing they've started doing. Free surgery for the re-election of George Weah. Are you kidding me? Our hospitals have been degraded, underfunded, unkept, and now you are promoting free surgery for the re-election of George Weah.
Reverend Adi,
This is a pattern.
I'll give you
Talk to
30
me.
seconds to respond to this. I mean, some will argue that this is not the first time that government officials go on a public school campus and offer to give free food to students. Now, is this a really bad gesture, or you just saying this, or is it just poor timing? Because I know you're using a lot of words on this, saying this is he's insulting the students. So I'm trying to get you to understand: was this politically motivated? Is it because it's around elections time? That's why these students are reacting the way they're reacting, or is this really bad? Is it just bad timing?
The students' reaction was not politically motivated. What was politically motivated is the action of the finance minister. That was what was politically motivated. He went to a campaign, and what his citizens told the president through him is that we are fed up with the mediocrity. We are fed up with the insults to our dignity as the young generation of this country, and therefore we need a systemic approach to improving the food insecurity, a systemic approach to improving quality education, not going from one school and say, I'm going to feed you for 3 days, and what happens after 3 days? Are you kidding me? Like, it's not a joke.
Bishop Reed,
to the blind children, the blind people.
Thank you, Reverend Adi. Bishop Reeves, do you think this will have any effect on the elections? Do you think this will have any effect on the elections?
Absolutely not.
Why do you think that way? Don't you think that this is a statement that the people are tired with the current administration and they're looking for other options?
No,
but
yes, but it depends who's talking. It depends on who's talking. It depends on who's listening. I mean, of course, what the kids said, I agree with them that they want good education. They don't want food. I agree with that, But as to whether it's going to have an effect on the election, well, I don't know if it's going to have. But I don't believe that.
You said absolutely not. You say you don't know again. Which one is it?
I don't believe that. I don't believe it's going to.
Are you scared that this is probably a bad thing for the current administration? Do you think? Do you think this favors the opposition?
No, I don't even care whether it favors the opposition or.
Let's hear Mr. Weah. Let's hear from Mr. Weah, and then we'll take a break. Do you think this will have an effect on the election?
Well, basically, like what I can say is that those who make up their mind to support Weah already made up their mind. Next Tuesday election will actually be determined by turnout. Those who are for sedition, no matter what you do, they will be for sedition. Those who are UPD partisan, no matter what you do, they made up their mind. So the strategy to all of them is that the person that will be successful to make sure that all their people turn out will be the victor of the election on Tuesday.
Thank you very much. And thanks to all of you panelists for your contribution on the current event discussion. And those of you watching us, please stay with us as we take a very brief break. When we come back, we will get right into discussions surrounding the runoff elections that is to take place next week, the 14th of November. But for now, let's take a brief break. When we come back, we'll bring you more on these discussions.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Welcome back. Good evening to all of you watching us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. This is episode 10 of season 4 of the Horizon. My name is Derek Yale, and I'm playing host tonight. I'm here with my team of panelists, Mr. Boda, Mr. Weir, Bishop Reeves, and Reverend Adi. This is a very long comment. Well, anyways, guys, if you're watching us, please share the program on your Facebook page and make sure you encourage your friends and family to follow the network, like, share, and subscribe. But let's get right into our discussion for this episode. November 14th is just 4 days away. Liberians will go back to the pool to decide if they want to give President Weir another 6 years or they want to try a new guy in person of Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka. So this elections is very key, is very, very important. We've seen a lot of campaign activities in the past few weeks. We've seen a lot of endorsements from one political institution to another, and it all going to come down to Tuesday when Liberian will be making that very important decision. Now, before we actually get into the discussion surrounding the elections, let me recognize the presence of Councilor Freeman. Councilor Freeman, welcome to episode 10, season 4 of the Horizon.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And since you're here now, we have to deviate from the discussion that was planned, and so we can continue this conversation on the case with Stanton Witherspoon and all of the developments around that. I know we started talking about that last week, but I'm glad you're here, Councilor Freeman, so we can continue that discussion. So let me give you the opportunity now to first make your introductory statement, and then we'll go around, including myself, will ask questions on that particular case. If you want to do that right now, Councilor Freeman.
An introduction. Well, I think I'd much rather we just go straight into it.
Yeah, just go straight. I'm sorry. Maybe I used the wrong word.
Questions for me, that's fine. If you have questions for me, that's fine. Other than that, we can just talk about whatever it is you all want us to talk about.
Listen, man, we have a larger issue to discuss. You're talking about Stanton cases. Yeah, man.
Wait, there are a lot of
that election in
there were a lot of
we're gonna waste time on Stanton.
There were a lot of
No, man, I beg you, man. We already exhausted that whole case.
There were a lot of unanswered questions on that Stanton case, and we asked the council if you could come back on the next episode. Council, if you can we do this after the discussion? Is that fun? Is that fun with you? All right, but let's
good. Let me just say briefly though. I'm good, but I'm cognizant of the fact that I have an early morning flight to catch. So, but I'm good. I think it's about 9:13 now. We can talk about whatever else you all want to talk about, and then if there's time left, whatever you want to talk about pertains to Stanton.
Yeah, let's get right into our discussion for the night. I know, Reverend Adi won't talk about this rescue train. You got just a couple of days to see how the election will go. But let's get right.
Tuesday there will be no debate again. We're talking about results.
Let's talk about the momentum going into Tuesday, though. Like, what's going to happen? Like, we've seen a lot of endorsements, that the money buy remain neutral, Alexander Cummings remain neutral, but CPP endorsed, CDC was Councilor Tiawan Gongo endorsing the Unity Party, Appleton Unity Party, and there are so many endorsements. But let me now get to. Let me start with you, Mr. Boda. Give us your take on the momentum going into this second round. What is your thoughts? What do you think going to happen?
Well, this is 2% range, so we now know that the rest of the folks that didn't make the stage is out. So, having said that, you cannot relax and just be complacent of the fact that I got the elections, but you can clearly see that the Liberian people are moving in the direction that they want. You can tell. They say Liberian people, you can tell from the eve of the Christmas, right? It's not going to be good. So if you see a lot of endorsement coming from political leaders, and these people have followers, that should say something to you about the opposition. You're the party is sitting in the right directions. And I'm going to show you that definitely the Unity Party will come as a victorious in this election. If and only if the election commission does her work at the shoot.
She did her work in the first round and CDC beat her. So what made you so sure that you will beat CDC in the second round?
So CDC did not win us.
They won you in the first round.
No, they did not. So let's leave that part.
You want me to pull up it? Well, they did not win. They did not win the elections, but they won you. They have more votes.
No, that's not what you call winning. So let's leave that part.
Let's hear from you, Mr. Weir.
So the issue is, my observation about the whole thing is that, like, I would have loved that Boakai and Weir had the opportunity to debate the issues, but unfortunately, that will not happen. But the question now is, between the two men, who is capable to bring about rule of law and justice for all? Who is capable to make Liberians to have learning and empowering opportunity? Who is capable to make sure that the city of Monrovia, which is the capital of Liberia, have water and electricity? Who is capable to make sure that our students and all the children of Liberia have a fighting chance? All Liberians need to be mapping their minds about these questions. I know for the past time we have been discussing things, in my opinion, that have no impact after election on the life of Liberians. So the reason why lately I support the Boakai ticket is that we have had a time, 6 years, to do this thing as president. The presidency is the most powerful government position in Liberia. It has influence about whatever goes on. I do not believe that Weir is capable to make a change if you were to give him a second chance. And that is why, yes. And that is why I think all of these questions, let me end something here. I know some people talk about the mental stability of Boakai, but I don't know. That is why we're going to be fair enough if two of them were to debate, but that is not the issue. The issue is who is capable to change the current situation in Liberia, who is capable to give the youth of Liberia hope, who is capable to give them a fighting chance. That is the question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from you now, Bishop Reeves. Give us your take. Before we do that, let me recognize the presence of Bishop Hagan. Bishop Hagan, welcome to episode 10, season 4 of the Horizon.
Thank you.
Let's hear from you, Bishop Reeves. Momentum leading into the runoff elections scheduled for next week.
Well, the momentum leading into the elections, I have a very serious concern about the momentum. And let me tell you what the concerns are. I've been listening to Costa, I've been listening to Stanton, and I realized that things are getting very messy. People are becoming very personal. And by the time, because everybody is fighting very hard so that they can have votes. I listen to Costa, I listen to Stanton. All right. Now, for the direction these guys are going, let me be very clear that if everybody continue to push both of them and accept what they're doing, By the time this election is over and one person would have been announced the winner, it will be very difficult to unite this country. Very difficult because of the kind of fight that I see going on. They've been very personal. I listened to Costa, I listened to Stanton, and they've been very personal. They're putting stuff out there. By the time one person should have won this election, it would be very difficult to unite the country. And so that's my take on the momentum that's going. I'm kind of cautious, and I want us to really take our time. Politics is politics. I can speak to you and tell you what I'm going to do, how I'm going to pay for it, and how I'm going to benefit the Liberian people. I can do that. George Weah need to come up and tell the people what he's going to do, how he has failed, what he's going to do. Omen Boyka need to come up and tell the people, but all the surrogates coming out and putting out personal information, those who are listening to it, they are the ones who's going to vote. And that is where my problem is. When the voters start getting hurt and start taking their things so personal, by the time one candidate should have won this election, it will be difficult to unite the country. So that's my take.
Thank you very much, and I'll come back to you. I have a couple of questions for you. I'll come back to you later on in the show. But let's hear from you, Reverend Addy. Give us your take on the momentum leading up to the runoff election scheduled for next week.
Well, I personally think Liberians are resolved, irrespective of the distractions of unwarranted criticism. Liberians are resolved to ensure that they will vote number one to elect the Honorable Vice President, Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boyka. And it is this momentum that is being seen all over the country, so much so that this government has decided to start arresting and putting people in places that came out of the Speaker's office on the NEC in the different areas in Lofa, recruiting seditions just to be able to manipulate these results. But the people remain committed. They are resolved. They are tired with poverty. They are tired with hunger. They are tired with poor health care. They are lack of payment. They are tired with the cutting of their salary. President rides a $400,000 bulletproof car. The people of Liberia are fed up. They're tired. The students in LU want to also have good education. Misappropriation of public funds, spending millions of dollars on campaign, while your healthcare system is completely broken down. Your educational system is completely broken down. Your roads are being damaged, unpliable. The entire southeast, you got to fly to Ivory Coast to enter. To go to Lofa, sometimes you have to go through Sierra Leone. Listen, the infrastructural system of this country has been broken down due to the dangerously incompetent policies of this government, the ineffective use of resources that is not benefiting the people. We are faced with a major challenge come November 14, where Liberians will be making a decision between retaining poverty or having a shot at prosperity when this government is gone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Now let's hear from you, Bishop Haggard.
Yeah, thank you very much. So you're asking about
Give us your take on the momentum leading up to the elections, this run-up election next week.
Well, we want to be so grateful to the Liberian people. You know, I love what is happening. I know people may look at it from different perspective, but Liberia is not the only country that practices democratic election. All over the world where democratic elections are held, the period before election is always tense with all kinds of issues, challenges that some people can misinterpret and think that we are going to war or we're going to some disunity. Listen, to my friend and brother, Reverend Reed, Bishop Reed, the Liberia will not go back to war. What is happening is we are growing into maturity. For me, it is a signal that the power is inherent in the people. That if the people are not happy with the performance of an administration after 6 years, that administration will leave. The people will decide. So all that is taking place, campaigning going on, we are blessed. Right here in South America, candidates were shot while campaigning and killed. We have not reached there in Liberia, in West Africa, in Ghana, in Nigeria, in Ivory Coast, and campaign period, there was all kinds of political violence. But Liberians have demonstrated maturity. And I believe this November 14th run of election will be held peacefully, and there will be no problem. We want to congratulate our Liberian people for the level of maturity that has been shown. For us, I am fully behind Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boak. The reason is because I always have said George Weah came into the presidency. We all knew that he never had the requisite credential for presidency. But the young people of Liberia felt that he was a messiah. In 2017, you couldn't get that out of their head. Even if we say everything, they believed that George Weah was a savior. He was tested for 6 years. The young people of Liberia, what have they experienced? They have experienced backwardness, non-progress, stagnations, and massive corruption. They criticized the Unity Party government for how many years? The CDC. They said they were the alternative. They had better things to propose to the young people. But they became the worst nightmare for Liberia. So they were tested. George Weah is not a presidential material. This man is bobo. He was in the Senate. He never addressed any issue. All the bad things happening in Liberia, the man never said anything. The
Thank
only
you.
thing George Weah done, look, Jamie Chance, George Weah go to dance, I don't call that music.
You almost 5 minutes.
You gotta give me a chance. He beat all over the place, dancing buka. When people are dying, no drugs in the hospital. When the whole place is going down, the economy is incomplete. I mean, in coma. If you go in Liberia, businesses are crying. Nothing happened. Keep
the rest for the rest of the show. We have a long discussion here tonight. I will come back to you. You were defending rescue train. You have enough time to do that tonight. But let me come down to you. Councillor Freeman, on the build-up to these runoff elections. We know after elections is the results, and sometimes political institutions don't tend to accept the results. So if you can just talk to us about the process leading up to the elections, and after that, the role of the National Elections Commissions, political institutions, the government of Liberia, and the citizens of Liberia, what role they can play in making sure that they follow the process and remain peaceful.
Well, I listened to the Bishop Hagar. He mentioned that we should be grateful for the fact that there has been no violence associated with the elections. But the truth is, there have been a number of violent situations in Liberia. Yes, no political leader was attacked, but ordinary Liberians got killed during this election. And I want to piggyback on what Bishop Reeves said. The incendiary statements from Costa, and I've never listened to Witherspoon or even the Costa, but I think I read something that he said. It speaks to a larger issue in Liberia. And that is, most politicians in Liberia, and the two people competing now are no exception, they don't base their politics on policy.
Thank you.
Not policy driven. Because if you have politicians who are experienced, highly educated people, their platform will be policy driven. Unfortunately, in Liberia, it's very difficult to see a politician that is savvy, and who bases the entire campaign on policy. And so this is why you see the likes of Henry Costa, the likes of Stanton Witherspoon, and some of the other folks in Liberia, they are engaging in all of these incendiary, inflammatory tactics, because for them, they understand that in Liberia, the majority of the electorates, that's the kind of stuff they gravitate to. They gravitate to the incendiary statements, the inflammatory stuff, the insulting, the bringing each other down. It's not policy driven. And so I think that's part of our problem we have. And unfortunately, I don't see a situation where there's going to be a shift, okay? Because that's the climate. And as a result of that, we have some of the problems we have in Liberia, where people say things and not supposed to say, and then they inflame a situation that should ordinarily not be inflamed. And precisely that's why we have some of the violence we had in Liberia up to the elections. Now, so let me say this. After election, I will say what I have said before. Let's continue to encourage everybody to remain law-abiding. More importantly, the political leaders, they should continue to encourage their followers and their surrogates to be law-abiding, to watch the tone of what they say, because we have a very fragile country. The fragility of Liberia cannot be understated, okay? There are a lot of people in that country, they are almost on a time bomb. They are willing and they're prepared to engage in all sorts of things as long as it sort of it plays into their agenda, whatever agenda that might be. So people need to be mindful. After the election, those that prevail, if there are no issues of impropriety, then let us celebrate them for the ultimate good of Liberia. But if people feel that there were improprieties and things were not done the right way, let them follow the legal process. The United Party have done it before. They followed the legal process when they felt that the national election was not doing the right thing. I would encourage them to do the same thing. But more importantly, and I think it's important for us to stress this point, because we saw what happened before the election when people got murdered on the streets of Liberia, okay? They need to watch the tone. You got some individuals over there who either they are sitting in America or they have a flight ticket they can run back to America, and they're engaged in incendiary commentaries. And that has the propensity to disturb the peace.
Yes. Thank you very much, Councillor Freeman. Now let's talk about these two individuals that are asking the Liberian people for their votes on November 14. That is Ambassador Joseph Yeman Boakah and President George Manneh Weah. Let's have this conversation, one on the issue of integrity, and then let's talk about change. Who would be best to bring change to Liberia? Whether it's President Weah or it is Ambassador Joseph Yeman Boakah. Let me start with you and ask you this specific question, Mr. Weah. I know Unity Party or supporters of Unity Party has expressed this notion that if you're part of the opposition and you don't support Unity Party, you either don't love Liberia or you don't mean well for Liberia. What do you think about that notion? Give us your take on that.
Okay, thank you for this opportunity. As I said before, Liberia has this problem of people getting the power and thinking that it is the right time to be the next. How did I describe to be the next man in power to control everything? Initially, I supported Gongo, but the reason why I believe and why I support Boakah is that President Weah was elected over women, over the politicians, thinking that he would have brought about a change that Liberian yearned for a long time. If you look around Weah today, you got Emmanuel Shaw, you got Charles Bright, you got the same old people from Doe time, from Taylor time around him. Weah even went to the extent of even going beyond. I've got a lot of friends that are in government too. We are government. And they are proudly breaking about corruption. And those who support them say that the money they are getting, at least they are spending it in the country. UPP time, the money was spent outside the country. That is not a reason to corrupt. I always in Liberia every year.
I'm sorry.
I'm coming. I will answer your question. I come to your question. So the presidency is the biggest position in Liberia. The presidency has a lot of influence. So whatever you do as a president in Liberia, they will look up to you. So I believe Boubacar will do better because of legacy, because of the age.
Has he shown any sign that he will be better than President Weah?
Yes, I think Boubacar will do better because of legacy. I think I listened to him a few different times since I decided to follow him. I think he truly loves Liberia. I think he truly wants to bring about a real change. And most of all, looking at age, looking at the experience he's spent in government, and looking at all the mistakes, looking at what is going on.
As the conversation involved, we'll come back to that because I have a question on that. You based on his legacy, his experience. I have a couple of questions on that, but let's allow the conversation to involve. Let me come down to you, Bishop Reeves. Now, Representative-elect Tai Wongbe made a statement on the two candidates that will be running in the runoff elections. He said this election is basically between a bunch of incompetent and unsophisticated criminals fighting to retain power versus semi-competent, desperate, and arrogant, sophisticated criminals hungry to retake state power. And by way of information, he chose to remain neutral and he did not endorse any of these two candidates. What do you think about that? So he's basically saying it's two bad choices. Bishop Reeves.
He laughs.
You're muted.
I can see that all my fellow colleagues are very excited to hear what Bishop Reeves is going to say. But sorry to disappoint all of you. When it comes to the two candidates, I do not choose any of them. And I can give you the laundry list of all of them. And I'm not sure you want me to start giving laundry list right now. But
we need a leader though.
I know we need a leader. But I got issue with both of them. Oh yeah. And there are deep laundry lists that we can pull out here today. Starting from all of my colleagues who's sitting over there.
Do you agree with the commenter that? Do you agree with one of our commenters who said these are two evils?
Well, I wouldn't. I think the word evil is too sharp.
Or two bad choices.
Yeah. I wouldn't say evil. They're not evil. We just need both of them, to be honest with you, have not done well. And so for me, I'm at a standstill right here. Yeah. Yeah,
let's hear from you, Reverend Adi. Just Ambassador Joseph Yaman Boubacar and President George Manneh Weah. The first question I asked to Mr. Weah is about this unity party notion that if you're from the opposition community and you don't support the unity party, you either don't love Liberia or you don't mean well for Liberia. And also on Representative-elect Tai Wongbe's statement that these are two both candidates don't mean well for the country, and he chose to remain neutral. What do you make of those two things?
Unfortunately, I will not dignify Mr. Tai Wongbe's comments. I wouldn't dignify that with a response, quite frankly. You should go and read about the criticism of Mr. Tai Wongbe before you can criticize somebody's character. But here is a clear distinction between Joseph Boyka's legacy and that of the current government. The Ellen Johnson Sirleaf-led government, in collaboration with Joseph Boyka as the vice president, started a government with $80 million. They increased our budget to $532 million US. They got your debt liquidated. Infrastructurally, they paved more roads compared to this government, who have yet to pave enough roads. Many of the ongoing projects that you see this government carrying out today is the reality of the Joseph Yaman Boubacar administration of the last 12 years. Let's be clear. He built your airport. They built your ministerial complex. They paved more roads, up to over 650 some more kilometers of road compared to this government. In the first 6 years, they paved 293 kilometers of roads compared to this government. They decreased your debt. This government increased your debt. Civil servants were making more money in the last 12 years compared to this government that has harmonized the people's salary. The difference is very clear. Your city today is filthy compared to the last 12 years. There is a proliferation of more ghettos in your country to the tune of 856 under this government as compared to the last 12 years. The deliverables are very clear. Your hospitals were doing better under this government, in the last 12 years compared to what you have now under this government. Your infrastructure are declining. Your roads were better in the last 12 years. They were pliable compared to this government, where you can drive to the southeast right now under this government. The LSG lines that you see today started under the Joseph Yuma Boyka's administration. Today we have electricity. Your Mount Comfort Dam, the money that will secure to expand it. Oh, really?
No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Is that how you look at government?
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Thank
go
you.
ahead. I'm sorry.
Thank
go
you.
ahead. I have a question. I'll come back to you. No, go right ahead.
Right. Your Mount Comfort Dam today that is now supplying current to all of the different areas in the country today was a reality of the last 12 years. The dam in Lofa today was a reality of the last 12 years. The West African intercontinental traveling from Sierra Leone, Ivory Coast to Guinea. It happened in the last 12 years compared to this government who is breaking down the infrastructure. Go and listen to Amara Kone. Go and listen to the former Public Works Minister, Mr. Giddings, and he will break down to you what they've accomplished. Right now under this government, your debt has gone up. Your GDP per capita is $500. There's no comparison yet. You have a government that is dangerously incompetent versus a government that came to power with $80 million and left and increased your budget of $500 and some plus dollars. What do we have now? We have so much debt to the tune of $1 billion plus with nothing to show. He's building parks. When your students are being undereducated, misappropriation of resources, he's writing a $400,000 Jeep right down that is bulletproof. When you hardly got medications in your hospital, there is no comparison here. We see the misappropriation. How many times did they not fill the MCC? They are boasting that they passed. Go look at the MCC report. They failed in education, they failed in healthcare, and the list goes on. This is a serious problem we have here. So there is no comparison. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Reverend Adi. I'm sure supporters of the current administrations will have some gains that they can point to. But what I wanted to ask you is, because you're making reference to this accomplishment, of which at some point in time, Ambassador Boyka has distanced himself from, describing himself as a parked car in the very administration that you're listing those achievements under. So if he's not taking credit for that, can he also take credit for the corruption in that administration?
You see, I personally love a leader who is humble enough to acknowledge that they made some mistakes. What did he say? We squandered some opportunities. It could have been better. He was very humble and fair enough to share that there was some missed opportunities. Under his administration with Madam Sirleaf, there were more companies doing business in Liberia compared to what we have now. Yes, we are not just swimming in the successes. We recognize the flaw, and that's the kind of leader I look for. That is humble enough to recognize.
He also said he was a part car, though. He said he was a part car in our administration.
Thank you. You have to get the whole statement, and that is why it's very good to do a due diligence. He said park. Hold on. He said park race car. Oxymoron, parked race car. In other words, when you look at what Joseph Yuma Boyka did under his portfolio, the One Health program included agriculture, the environment, education, health, animal farming. In agriculture, our farm to market roads had improved. Go listen to the former Minister of Finance, Amara Kane. Listen. You can't keep interrupting me when I'm giving you the facts.
I'm sorry, but okay, I'll give you another 15 seconds.
Like you can't keep going, though.
I will give you another 15 seconds.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No problem. Okay, so when you look at the portfolio that he managed under agriculture. Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf received the Serra Medal Award given to her by Jacques Diouf in 2008 in Lofa. How you think that became a reality? Because when he came, he was surprised that Liberia, after the Civil War, is making strides in the area of agriculture. Your One Health program that was managed by Joseph Boyka and all of the international partners. We saw what happened. Over millions of dollars came to Liberia. The Youth Empowerment Program saw $50 million. Where is that program today? The EU gave this government $1 million for the youth. They have nothing to show. Go ask Zoga Wilson.
You have exhausted your faith. Thank you very much, Reverend Addy. Let me come now to you, Bishop Boga.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, go right ahead. Same question.
For me, I really want us to have some very educative, very correct conversation tonight. I don't want you to be dwelling on issue of PACA because we don't pass that stage. What 800,000 Liberians came up massively to vote for Joseph Boaga. What a negative thing to talk about. He's a man for the hour. What I'm going to say here tonight is this. Liberia is not different from all the other countries around the world. Do you agree with me that if we find Rwanda, Mozambique, Malawi, all the countries developing, they have people that investigate the performance of the government? And those people, like the Bretton Woods, World Bank, IMF, African Development Bank, they know better than the ordinary Liberians on the ground. Do you agree with me, Mr. Journalist? Do you agree that Bretton Woods, IMF, World Bank, those guys that have the data, the information, they know how to evaluate the performance of government and ordinary Liberian in the street? Do you agree with me?
I would.
Okay, now, when Joseph Yuma Boaga was vice president, when they were leaving in 2017, all of our development partners, every one of them graded the administration to be one of the best ever in Africa. Do you agree with me?
I'm not going to answer. I don't want to be like an interactive conversation.
The records are there.
Can I ask you a question though, based on the point you're making?
The point I want to
I'll give you time.
This thing annoys me because those who don't have the information, those who don't know how nations are developed, those who don't understand what are the ingredients for nation state development, we come up and say all kinds of things against the Honorable Joseph Yuma Boaga, who served honorably as the vice president of a government who are rated to be one of the best in Africa. Then why will you tell me and going to compare even the George Weah, the president? Let me give you
Bishop Hagan.
When George Weah came to power, he raided the administration.
Bishop Hagan, I will give you enough time. Let me ask you this question based on the point you're making. Now, you made mention of all these accomplishments with that Ellen, the former president Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and former vice president Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boaga made during the 12 years for Unity Party administration. And that going lines with what Reverend Addy was saying. Now, with all of these good things that Ellen and Boaga achieved, does it surprise you that Ellen does not even support him today to be president? Does that surprise you?
Listen,
I'm asking you a question. Does it surprise you? With all of the good things, you got a very good resume. She and this man worked together for 12 years, achieve a whole lot of things.
So you who she's supporting?
Listen, I ask you a question.
Yes,
I ask you a question.
No,
does it surprise you?
Listen.
I want to ask you a question, Bishop Hagan.
I don't want to.
I will rephrase the question.
We're having a very important conversation here
Bishop Hagan.
Ellen told you.
Bishop Reed is done laughing.
Bishop Hagan. I will give you enough time.
Okay, Ellen Johnson Sirleaf told me that she support Joseph Boaga.
No, listen. I will give you enough time to answer the question.
Ellen said she support Joseph Boaga. Let me say this again.
We are here in development.
I am saying to you. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf said Joseph Boaga, for vice president, is the best to rule Liberia.
That is information we cannot verify.
Okay, what your information? Quote your source right now.
Bishop Hagan.
Quote your source.
Bishop Hagar.
Listen, I'm not going to dwell on that.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Now, you're not giving me chance. You the moderator.
I will give you time. I just want you to protect me. Let me ask the question.
Ask me the question. Go right ahead.
No, let me finish my question. I want you to protect me so I can finish the question.
Okay, go right ahead.
When you look in the developed world, the best referral you can get is from your previous boss. Ellen and Bwaka work, as you and Reverend Adi, you have made it very clear, all of the achievement. Bwaka got a good resume, good working relationship with Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. Now, we saw other endorsement here when political leader or Ellen endorsed Bwaka with see press conference. Ellen will endorse Bwaka, it will not be no secret. Now, I'm asking you, does it surprise you that Ellen has not endorsed Ambassador Bwaka, who they worked so closely together and achieved a lot of great things? Does it surprise you that she's not even supporting him to be president?
No, that statement, honest, is disingenuous on your part.
It's not a statement, it's a question.
Has President Ellen Johnson ever supported anybody? Did she tell you she's supporting George Weah? Is there any record to prove that you say she's supporting George Weah?
I never said that.
Okay, now I'm saying to you, I will not even dwell in the area of who Ellen support, because Ellen's support is not relevant right now. What we want is to win the election. Simple. So Joseph Bwaka worked, and you can't deny that Ellen worked 12 years. If Ellen never had confidence in Ambassador Joseph Bwaka, she would not work with him for 12 years. They had a good relationship. Recently, Ellen had her birthday. Joseph Bwaka was there to pay credit courtesy call on her. Listen, we're not going to do it. Ellen is our former standard bearer. She served 12 years. We respect her. Right now, we talk about winning an election. What Joseph Bwaka have done, we want to talk about that. Ellen have not supported George Weah. She can never support George Weah. That incompetent, corrupt government. It would not happen.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, Bishop Hagar. I have to move on. I have to move on to other panelists.
I'm not going to take this. You took my time.
I will give you 45 seconds. Go ahead.
No, you got to allow me. Why would we not compare George Weah administration to Joseph Newman Bwaka? He left the vice presidency with impeccable record, no corruption. George Weah, moment he became president, he stole all government money and building houses. He and his family all over the place, corrupt to the bone. How will you compare honest, decent man who left with clean record with someone who is so corrupt? He played football all around the way, never built one decent home for himself. When he became president,
thank you.
Just stop making fun of the Liberian people.
Thank you very much.
I ever compare light with darkness. Just making fun of the Liberian people. Just human burger to anybody money to build houses.
Bishop Hagar, thank you very much. Now, before I take rebuttal from you, let me hear from Mr. Boulder first, because I haven't taken his position on this. Mr. Boulder, first, if you can answer this question, because Bishop Hagar said that, and Joseph Newman Bwaka colleague or former President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's support or endorsement to him is not relevant. Do you agree with him on that? And also give us a take on this composition.
What is the? Can you come back again with that question?
And Bishop Hagar said that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf's support or endorsement of Joseph Newman Bwaka is not relevant. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't want to comment on Hagar relevant or irrelevant statement.
Do you think Ellen's support or endorsement is relevant?
What I can say is Ellen had respect for Bwaka, and Bwaka do have respect for Ellen. And they both have a mutual respect for each other.
So that will mean her endorsement or support is relevant to Bwaka.
Like I said, I'm not going to speak for Mr. Hagar said. I'm going to speak to the relationship between Ellen and that of Bwaka. I think Ellen had a series of interviews, and she outlined who Bwaka is. Interview that is out there. You can see that interview she had with, I think, Network Africa, and outline laundry of things that Bwaka is competent on doing, and he's one of the best, and he's the best dealer that Liberia can have. That speak to that. So the fact that Ellen had not support his bid for being a president, that's something that is in their own personal relationship. But what I want to say here about Boga is, I think we're looking for a leader who have the ability, who I understand in the war room where leaders sit and make decisions. And he had held a lot of positions. He sat in the closest, he's the closest in our race that I sat in our office, closer to our presidential office in our electoral process. He understands what it is to lead. He understands what it is to be a president because he oversees the Senate. And he was close by the president. He saw how things were ran. And he knows what some of the shortcomings. And he spoke about that. The honesty that he said, look, we squandered some opportunities. And I think he knows that. So at this point in time, we need somebody who can recognize where our mistakes were and can take off on that mistake to go further. And I think Joseph Boga is willing to do so because I think he understands that.
Mr. Boda, you have a less than 5 seconds, but I will give you a minute to address this, if you would. Okay? Yeah, because sure. I feel like elections, like we all know, have consequences, right? Yes. And I feel like the fact that Unity Party supporters keep running away from this reality of who Joseph Boakai is, I feel like you're not being honest with the Liberian people. We get it. You can say the worst thing about and George Barnett, we are government. We all saw how hard the country was. We saw corruption, killings everywhere. We can talk about it all we want. But we're talking about the person you're putting up front to replace Joseph, to replace President Weah. We're talking about him. And now, if you are an employer and you have someone coming for an interview and you ask them for reference on the previous job, and their previous employer cannot even support them for that position, you will question that person. Yeah. More likely, you will not even hire that person. Yes. So this is why we're asking you the question: if Waka worked with Ellen for that long, Reverend Adi listed all of the things they achieved together. They had a good working relationship. Ellen even sent Waka to UNGA. Now, why is it that Ellen will not even pledge her support publicly for Joseph Yema Boakai? We want you to tell the Liberian people she worked with this man for a very long time, and like you rightly said, she did a lot of interviews. She said a lot of good things about Joseph Yema Boakai. I saw those interviews. But why is it in this very crucial moment, with the country being in the situation it's in today, why Ellen will not endorse Joseph Yema Boakai? That's the question I want you to address. I'll give you a minute.
My answer to that question is, Madam Salif has the prerogative to keep her support as long as she wants. I cannot speak for her mind why is it that she doesn't want to support or endorse Boakai. It's not because she doesn't endorse Boakai doesn't mean that Boakai is not competent or he's not qualified. That's not the issue.
What does that say?
It's not means that if you've been silent, it doesn't mean that he's not qualified. No. She knows why she has not publicly spoken because she has that reason. I don't know that reason.
Let me say
I don't think it's on the basis of competent or Boakai is not competent. That's not an issue.
Can I say something?
So
I'll come. Yes, go ahead. Let's protect Mr. Boda first.
So the issue of Boakai or Ellen not endorsing Boakai should not be the issue of the Liberian people can endorse. Ellen can endorse Boakai and the Liberian people can go the other way. It doesn't mean she endorse Boakai today automatically Liberian people going to vote. Say yeah, we'll vote. Some people have issue with Ellen. Ellen is not the darling anymore that she was before. So
thank you. Let's hear from Bishop Reeves, and then we'll hear from Councilor Freeman, and then we'll get rebuttal from Bishop Hager and Mr. Weah. Bishop Reeves.
You see, gentlemen, let me say this. Now that I've told you what I don't support, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 panelists on this show that have declared their support for Joseph Boakai. Unfortunately, we don't have panelists on this show that is expressing their support for George Weah. Then I would have taken both of you and put the laundry list down and deal with all of y'all. But I really need us to on the next show, let's get some of the CDC people on this so that we can strike a balance here, because I see that The 4 of them, 5 of them is going one direction. All right. Now, with all of what you people are saying, in fact, Reverend Addy gave a very good historical background of what the government did and all of that, including Joseph Boakai, and was very convenient. Okay. Now, he asked the question, why is it that with all of this beautiful thing that they did for 12 years, why is it that Ellen is not? I think she should have raised Joseph Boakai's hand and said, well, this is my successor, because governance is continuity. But she did not do that. It spoke volume. Now, let me leave Ambassador Boakai a little bit, and let's come to the team of the people, because I wish the CDC people are here so I can also lay some things on the table, but they're not there. Let me lay some things on the table for for Joseph Boakai's people. You have at least 4 senators that is right at the forefront of backing Ambassador Boakai. In fact, if he should go for any kind of surgery or anything, they are the ones that's going to be running the country. You're talking about Yombly, you're talking about Darius, you're talking about Jeremiah, and you're talking about Prince. Okay, these 4 senators here we're talking about. Now, all of you here live in America. I live in Liberia, even though right now I'm in America, but I live in Liberia. Now, the Capitol building is the second most powerful house in the Republic. Okay, Yombly Kanga is the one in charge of rules and order.
You have a minute left, Mr. Reeves.
Yeah, in the Capitol building. Now, if you have all these people, senators and all of them in that building, why is it that you are in charge of the Capitol building and the Capitol building does not have running water and flush toilet? They got to use drum and bucket to flush all of the bathrooms in the Capitol building. That how are you going to run the country if you can't run the Capitol building? How are you going to run the country? Those are things that get under my skin. So when people start painting the picture of how Joseph Boakai Party UP is going to do this, is going to do that, hey, there's a lot of realities on the table that some of us are just quiet. We are not talking. But I want the CDC people to be here and the Joseph Nima Boakai people. Then I will give you the laundry list for both of y'all. But since you guys are here, let me tell you, those people that are behind him, if they cannot handle the Capitol building for running water, how can they run the country?
Thank you.
I need you to answer that question.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves. I know, Bishop Hager, you have a rebuttal, but let's hear from Councilor Fremont first on this conversation.
Look, I think the facts are clear. I'm a Liberian, and so I think I have a right to express my opinion as well, putting the legal issue aside. I have met with former Vice President Boakai once at his residence and spoke with him personally on some issues. I have a lot of respect for him. But all of you here know that even in America, age goes to the issue of competency. I know people like to make the comparison, well, we got Joseph Biden, he's an old man and he's running the country. I always say America can run on autopilot if you want. Not Liberia. Liberia is in a dire state. I believe with all Mr. Boakai's good intentions, his age becomes an issue of competency. There's no question about that. Age is an issue of competency. Even in the courts, your age is an issue of competency. And so having said that, I mean, it's worth making the point that ultimately if Mr. Boakai were to become president of Liberia and he become incapacitated for any reason, the people he surrounds himself with are the people who are going to effectively run the country. Context does matter here. Now we have to ask ourselves, who are those people? What are their credentials? Okay, what are their experiences? We are in a dire state as a country. I would say for the record that George Weah is the most incompetent. And I'm speaking as a Liberian now. Having said that, I know Reverend Adi made a lot of point about what the UP has accomplished, but let me make a point here. Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government received a lot of goodwill in Liberia when it came to power. A lot of goodwill for reasons we all know. Liberia was simply emerging from war. The international community wanted to give all of the support to revive that country. A lot of goodwill. And I think it's fair to say that the current administration, in as much as it is highly incompetent, is not receiving the same amount of goodwill. That is a fact. It's an undisputed fact. They do not receive the same amount of goodwill for reasons that the international community understands. Maybe the incompetency, the corruption, all of those may be a factor. But I'm cautiously optimistic about either Mr. Boaka's presidency, in as much as I am, uncertain about George Weah's presidency. I'm cautiously optimistic. Hopefully, he will do well, but the facts do not bear that out. The facts simply do not bear that out. In part, because leadership is about the people you surround around yourself, the people you bring around you within your inner circle. The people around Honorable Boaka give me pause. They gave me pause. And I don't want to go through all of that, but so those are the concerns that I have. So I think Liberia, we have to hope for the best. Either option does not inspire hope. Neither of them inspire hope. But let's be optimistic. Hopefully, something will happen.
Thank you, Councilor Freeman. Let me ask you a question, though, on this Ellen and Ambassador Boaka relationship. I want to stay on this. And give us your opinion on this. Ellen and Boaka worked together for 12 years, made a lot of strides. And someone in the comments said the question about why Ellen don't pledge or support for Boaka is Ellen's question. I understand that. Ellen can be the one to say why, I'm not saying I support Boaka or I'm not supporting Boaka. But given the relationship they had, 12 years, they worked together, does it say anything about Ambassador Boaka that Ellen hasn't pledged her support for him? And someone also said that it might be Ellen silently saying that she doesn't think that Boaka will be right for the presidency. Give us your take on that.
Look, I think every one of the UP surrogates will agree with one simple thing, and that is the issue of endorsement is important for both parties. We've seen it already. We've seen when someone comes out to endorse George Weah and then the CDP people are celebrating that. We're also seeing when people come out to endorse Mr. Boaka, they're celebrating. So that's an important issue. Endorsement is so important in the Liberian election because those people that are endorsing and apparently have supporters. So let's not discount Ellen Johnson's endorsement. It would have been very paramount for Madam Sirleaf to endorse her former vice president. I think the UP party would have celebrated that. The reason they are trying to downplay that is because she hasn't done that yet. Maybe she will. I mean, it's becoming very slim to none. But look, her endorsement would have been very important for either George Weah or particularly for Honorable Boaka. Okay, because that's her former vice president. Look, if I wanted to go for a job and they say, who is your last supervisor or your last boss? You put that name there, they're calling that person for reference. Reference is critical here. Had Madam Sirleaf come out to endorse Mr. Boaka, the UP party would have supported that. Mm-hmm. Reverend Adi and Bishop Hager and the rest of the folks on the team would have actually mentioned that as a plus. So, right. Yes, she's not endorsing him. That's her prerogative, but it would have been important for her to endorse him. And I think they would have actually celebrated that.
Thank you. Let's hear from you, Bishop Hager. You had your hands up for too long. Go ahead.
Keep bringing up the issue, and there are tons of interview that Ellen Johnson Sirleaf gave to different international organization, news organization. They are online. I can send someone to you. And she said clearly the competence and the person of Joseph Yuma Boakai. I believe you know and you have watched the interview.
I've watched almost all of them.
The only thing that Ellen have not done to come and say, okay, Liberian people, you'll go and vote for Joseph Yuma Boakai. And I know the reason why. In America, they have former presidents say there's a kind of a gentleman understanding that you leave the politics. You leave the politics. It's only when Donald Trump came and all the different issues start to come. But in America, when you order the White House, you don't support any candidate. You just let the politics play out because you want to see yourself as a state person, as a father or mother to everybody. You want to make sure that your input is at every level. So I believe knowing the dynamics of leadership, she's doing that. And I respect her. She don't want to look like, okay, if eventually she come out open and say she for Joseph Yuma Boakai, if CDC wins, it create problems that, she will not be able to play her role as the mother of the nation. So I understand that. But she actually clearly tells everybody the competence of Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai. Even when you go back, and I want to review the journalist, when Randy Sear, the journalist, wrote a book on the biography of George Weah, he said he interviewed 150 people that knew George Weah, players that played with George Weah from Sonny Win Day, and not one of them endorsed George Weah to be president. They all said that George Weah was not qualified and competent. Read that book. Other than discredit George Weah from even running for any major position. It's in that book. But he's president of Liberia. People have their opinion. People that you grew up with have their opinion. Another thing I really think is important for me to say here tonight. Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai has a clear vision for Liberia. I have never seen a man who, at his age, he has no reason to do what he's doing. He's okay, but he still come back because the way the politics is in Liberia, the only person they trust right now to change that nation is Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai. He may have some challenges with his age, and it's normal. None of us here will remain young. And when you're old, you have some challenges. It's natural.
Thank you, Bishop Hagan. Let's
the young people.
Bishop Hagan,
he can't even make a correct speech. Then he can debate with Ambassador Weah and with Ambassador Boakai. Let George Weah and Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai come on the debate stage. Then all of you will look who is more competent, who is able. I challenge George Weah, President George Weah, to come on the debate with Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai.
What would be the point? What would be the point of that, Bishop?
Let him come.
No, so what I'm trying to establish here.
So the Liberian people can know.
Let me.
I ain't talking about age and competency. Let George Weah to come on the debate stage with Ambassador Joseph Yuma. We will defeat him massively because he doesn't.
We understand, Bishop Hagan. There's one thing I established, and Councilor Fremont really said it. George Weah is the most incompetent between the two. So we're not having that discussion. We're not joining that comparison between him and Ambassador Boakai anymore. We are not talking about Ambassador Boakai. We're talking about his person, his integrity. That's what we're talking about. With that being said,
if the man can stand up 2 hours to debate anybody at the age of 78, he's very articulate.
We will give him that. Okay, we'll give him that.
You're the general. You're bring tomorrow. We can have a debate. We're ready to debate George Weah right now.
You don't have to. You only want to. I'm hearing a feedback.
I think it's from you.
Oh well. Let me hear from you, Mr. Weah. I know you had your hands up for a while on your rebuttal. Let me give you a minute, and then we'll hear from Reverend Adi, and then take a break.
You know what? I am seeing people talking more about the endorsement. Why this endorsement is very important. But you also recall, even here in the United States, I have a lot of people that call me to give them reference, aside from their immediate bosses. Why it is true, I do not know exactly what might have transpired between Boakai and Salif. There is no doubt in my mind there was some issues. And those issues, none of them, if you were to, I listened to both of them in separate interviews. Boakai said, there is no issue. Salif said, there is no issue. But Salif hasn't come up to say publicly she supports Boakai. So the point I try to make here is that whether Salif endorses or not, either we are or Boakai will be our next president. So what I want to dwell on is after the elections next Tuesday, after we put in place, after we induct the new government, which of the two, I'm looking beyond, because election is next Tuesday, which of the two is capable between Boakai and Weah, again, to give the youth of Liberia a fighting chance? I don't want to answer that question. I want for people who are listening, who are listening, to answer the question for themselves. I remember the last time when I was in Liberia, during the first election of Weah, 2017. People that were supporting Weah, they were accusing me somehow or something like. The first thing they were saying that from Crown Hill. That was in most of the media. From Crown Hill, the first thing we had to do was to build a bridge in that swamp to do a lot of stuff. There are a lot of things that were said. Nobody wanted to listen. In Monrovia, on a keke, on motorbike, Erica, more on a road, but we are coming again.
Thank you.
I'm coming. The few times I've been going to Monrovia, these same children, I asked them, they say I was right. But what am I saying? Even though why it is true that endorsement is good, but I think this thing is too personal between the two. And we should leave it as it is and put Liberian first. Moreover, without Salif or Boakai or any other person, Liberia is the bigger prize for all of us. You and myself, we will go, Liberia will remain. So again, our problem should be, or our question should be, our desire should be, or what we should worry about should be, who will first do, between Weah and Boakai, who will do better in the next 6 years. That's what we should focus on, in my opinion. And in my opinion, I will say again, I think Boakai has a better chance to do better than Weah.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from you, Reverend Adi, and then we'll take a break. You're muted. Did you get permission from my production team to play that video?
Yes. I'm answering like this.
In terms of coming to the end of your term, he declared that he accepted a petition from the people of Lower County. I know in some way you have shown or expressed your intent to support him, but I just have to ask the question one more time. Where do you stand with your party and, of course, the vice president?
Look, let me be clear. It's more than hinting.
Okay.
Although there are many candidates who may make good presidents, but I say I'm supporting the vice president because I know that he's the most prepared, he's the most experienced, he's the one that's going to ensure continuity, building upon the progress we already have. Now, that's my commitment, and I believe in him. I've worked.
I think you made your point, Reverend Adi.
I became president, he became vice president.
So why you don't share it so they can play?
Should I continue or I should stop now?
You've made a point, but I have a question.
Should I put it in the chat?
Thank you.
When was that interview?
No. I'm just trying. I wanted to play it first so you can listen to it before I propound on the issue.
Go ahead.
Because we all know in Liberia, that there is Madame Sirleaf and the Honorable Ambassador had their own challenge for political reasons. We know that friction is still there. So for us to make a mounting out of a molehill as to why she doesn't support him, we know why. They had an argument. Even though they publicly have said nothing happened, nothing is happening between us, we know why. But I believe in President Sirleaf's words when she told the entire nation that Joseph Huma Boyka is the best competent person to succeed her and built upon the foundation for continuity, in the words of William R. Tubman the Lit, for a wholesome functioning society. What we have now is a government that has destroyed our governance structure to manage transparency in government and prosecute corruption. What we have now is a president who has built over 48 houses, squander our wealth, cannot account for the $30 million Ebola fund. His finance minister cannot account for the $25 million money. And all of these level of incompetence is not a reflection of the hope that Madame Sirleaf once told us, that Joseph Boyka would be the one to continue the legacy, because she trusted him. She believed in him. She knows that he possessed the competence to lead Liberia. I close on this. Let's be very clear. No psychiatrist has diagnosed Joseph Boyka concerning his mental competency. While it is true, he is of age. I witnessed him stand for 2 hours in an interview here in Philadelphia where he took questions from people. I've listened to him opine cognitively, soundly on issues that are relevant to the development of our country and the advancement of peace and unity in the country. So I'm not disturbed by that. In terms of who are the people around him, he's assured us that he has come to this fight to lay out a foundation of individuals that will bring legacy to leadership. Now, let's be very clear. His vice president, Jeremiah Kuhn, is an exceptionally competent young man. Go and look at Nima and what he's done there as a businessman. Go look at his contribution to his people in the society, where he took his personal money and built a hospital, sold his hotel, built his hospital, so much so that the people petitioned him to run to become their representative. A young man who is 45 years old, representing the youthfulness of our nation, a young man who, Prince Johnson was opposed to his running, and he said, I'm going to run anyhow, and became the senator of Nima County. Mr. Derrick, allow me to conclude in 10 seconds, please.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we are talking about a youthful leadership. A man that has a bachelor's degree from Cottington University and was about to go for his master's and PhD with a Ghanaian university. So let's make no mistake, he may be young, he may sound like, he's not a brand name, but he certainly brings a vision that is built on arrest and the 6 pillars that we have from the Unity Party to take Liberia to higher heights, different from this government. That is why the people will vote on November 14th, number 1.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. Guys, if you're watching us, stay with us and make sure to continue to share the program and engage us in the comment section. But for now, let's take a brief break. When we come back, we will continue our conversation on the elections that is scheduled for next week, November 14th. But for now, let's take a very brief break.
Hi, my name is Theophilus Juliban Nelson I. I am the founder and CEO of Lift Africa LLC. Lift Africa started as an employment agency that sought the employment of immigrants coming to the U.S. and finding ways and means to go to start life in this great your country. Now we have added airport pickups and drop, car rental, or rental. As you see, we have a new business location. Started with just a little office part, but today we have a whole complex that we can do a lot of stuff with.
Hello everyone, my name is Geneva Kreitz. I'm the Executive Administrator of Uplift Africa. We have an excellent employment rate at our company. We work with and for you regardless of your situation. If you've ever been in prison, maybe your background isn't great, do not worry. We have a place for you here. We believe in equal opportunity for everyone, especially you. So sign up today and begin earning.
My name is Emmanuel B. Horton, Operational Director for Live Africa. Live Africa is the place to be.
Hey there. Many Liberians are members of social clubs, 501c NGOs, and school alumni. Many Liberians are trying to open their own 501c NGOs, home care agencies, and social clubs. Does your organization have a professional website? Does your web platform have the right wording and content to attract grants? Hopefully you're not running your organization only through social media. There's a more professional route. You need an online space where you can craft a positive message about your organization, making your home health agency more credible, which will increase your chances to receive grants. We'll build you a responsive platform for 501c organizations, healthcare agencies, and other types of organizations. We'll provide you with full website maintenance, membership sign-in, private charts, Facebook and WhatsApp integration, live video feed for all your meetings and special occasions, a dashboard for members to see all the activities, and email and text auto reminders for meetings. We'll build with donors and 501c in mind, and will help you solicit grants and automatic membership due collections. Building you this amazing platform will only be a membership fee of $19 a month. Call or email us now. Let's upgrade your website. Home health agencies and small businesses, you owe it to your company to project the best image possible, and we can make it happen. Visit www.tiamit.com or call 215-966-8679. Ask for Tommy.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind. At Fatu's, we know what it's like to feel a little homesick. That's why we work hard to bring you the very best and freshest imported foods and supplies from home. With quality design African cloths, beauty supplies, and tasty African food items, you'll feel right at home. So what are you waiting for? Stop by Fatu's African International Market for all of your household and family needs. See you soon.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for staying with us this far. You're here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. We're bringing to you episode 10, season 4 of The Horizon, and we are having our discussion here around the runoff elections that is scheduled for November 14, 2023. That is actually 4 days away, less than 4 days away, I should say. Now, let's continue our conversation. President George Biden, we are facing going against Ambassador Joseph Yemen Boakai for the presidency of our country. And there has been a lot of discussions surrounding that, from endorsements to bombshells. So we're about to talk about a couple of bombshells, but I'd like to start with you, Councilor Freeman. Earlier, you mentioned that President George Biden is the most incompetent. But you also talk about Ambassador Joseph Yemen Boakai and the people he has around him. And I want you to expand on that first of all. And second of all, over the past few days, supporters of Unity Party have been on social media responding to on one of that Ambassador Boakai, former close colleague in person of close ally, I should say, in person of Herman Pedro Costa. He made a lot of allegations that United Party supporters have been responding to that brought the integrity of Ambassador Boakai into question on the issue of him receiving money from the convicted criminals or former CEO of the Spoon Network. So I want you to give your opinion on that, on the integrity of Ambassador Joseph Imam Boakai. So I'll give you the opportunity to start our conversation on that, and then I will have a couple of questions for our panelists.
But the fact is, and I don't know a lot about Costa because I don't really follow him. I don't think I've listened to him once, and I was in the last 2 days when my wife sent me a post and said, "Listen to this man," and she sort of basically forced me to do that. But upon listening to that, it begs the question: Costa, it seemed, had a very intimate relationship with Joseph Boakai. He was a close confidant of Mr. Boakai. And so we cannot simply dismiss the things he is saying. There may be some exaggeration, there may be some hyperbole here and there, but I think, without really delving too much into the validity of what he's saying, I think it's important for giving their relationship, at least given what Costa have said about their relationship that they had, it's important in my mind for Mr. Boakai to come out and basically clarify something. It's the issue of integrity. If I once asked Mr. Boakai, should you get elected to the presidency, which is very likely, would you hold people accountable for corruption in this country? His answer was, "You boy, when we get it, we'll deal with that. Just listen." So my point is, it's important for people who want to get in the role of leadership to be responsive to the Liberian people, the people who are going to elect them into office. So if you have a man who was, in fact, your closest confidant saying some of the most denigrated things about you, I will hope that he makes some clarification. I will hope that he addresses the issue. That may not happen here, but that is what I will hope to see happen, because ultimately Liberian people would like to know what actually, what actually went wrong, what actually happened between Costa and Boakai in terms of the allegations that Costa is making or has made. So, with regards to my earlier comment about the people he has around him, look, I know there have been a lot of chattering about Mr. Boakai is going to hold people accountable for corruption and hold people accountable for this and that. That may very well be true, but the fact is, there was a lot of corruption during the early administration. No one has really been held accountable today. Some of the same folks from that administration now align themselves with Mr. Boakai. Should he prevail in the election, some of those same people will be coming on board. Let me give you a typical example. And people want to politicize it as much as they want, but the fact is, Brandon Samuka, a former defense minister, was prosecuted for corruption in Liberia. He was found guilty. He had his day in court. He appealed to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court sustained the lower court's decision. We saw during the election of Mr. Samuka, when he ran for the Senate, Mr. Boakai put his hand up. And that, to me, that's what inspired my question to him when I met at his home with him. That would you hold people accountable for corruption? If you are putting, look, if I say I want to be the change, it has to be reflective in the way I carry myself. People in Liberia think that when they distance themselves from someone, it means they hate that person. That's not true. I can disavow, I can repudiate someone if that person does something wrong or something that I do not condone or will not condone, and still maintain a cordial relationship. You cannot say you're going to prosecute people for corruption, but then at the same time, you put the hands of a man who has been found guilty of corruption. So when I say the people he surrounds himself with, you cannot say you're going to bring about a rule of law and you're going to go against people who committed some of the most heinous crimes in the country, and then you associate with a man like Prince Johnson. You cannot say you're going to do all the things they are saying he's going to do, and yet you associate with a man like Buttnaked. There are serious concerns there. So that's what I mean by, some of the people he surrounds himself with. Like I said.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. Now let's move on. Let me hear from you, Mr. Jai Winkin. We see you have your hands up. Let me first get your rebuttal, and then.
Yes, I would like to just address the question of endorsement and affiliation, the people between Boakai and Weah.
Gotta be a little audible, Weah.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, you can speak louder a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm saying here is that before, in 2017, Prince Johnson endorsed Weah. Now Prince Johnson is with Boakai. What I'm saying in short here is that in Liberia, I think it is very important to watch and see. Then when it came to the question of Costa, I think if Boakai was, in my opinion, if Boakai was focusing on somebody who close to him, who knew much about him, he would have chosen Costa as the VP running mate. Because that was, from Costa own mouth, he did a lot for Boakai, but that did not influence Boakai. In my opinion, in that case, Boakai put Liberia first, not to use the relationship between he and Costa to make a decision when it came to the choosing of the vice presidential candidate. As we all agreed, both Boakai and Weah were my preferred candidates, but we have two now in the race.
So comparing
you
have left there 1 minute 45 seconds.
But comparing the two,
I would like to squeeze in a question though. Go ahead.
But what I'm saying here is that there is no way we are in Liberia. We need someone to be a president, and we have two candidates. Abstaining or staying away is not a solution. We have to choose someone.
So just very quickly though, you're saying Ambassador Boakai's decision to pick Prince Johnson over Costa, and this does not mean defending the vice candidacy of Costa. You're saying it wasn't political expediency, but it was in the interest of the country. Is that what you're saying?
Well, what I'm saying is that based on all the claims that Costa is making, everything that he has done for Boakai. Now, if Boakai was someone really who will be influenced by the closeness of somebody or by someone who might have done much for him, then Costa would have been a running mate today. That's what I'm saying in short.
Okay, I got it. So, yeah, I want to move to the next panelist, but I want you to answer this question. Councilor Freeman alluded to it. And you also mentioned Costa closeness with Ambassador Boakai. So because of how close of allies they were, we can't just dismiss all of the allegations Costa is making. So I would like to ask you, what do you think about those allegations Henry Costa is making? And also, do you think Ambassador Boakai should release a statement to at least clarify what really happened? Do you think that?
I addressed the last time during our last show. It's like, is there any other relationship between a wife and a husband that lived together for a long time? And if there is a problem of divorce or something like that, one will be truly hurt. They got few things in common as individual that they don't let it put out there. But I think Costa is frustrated. Costa seeing himself as being betrayal because he had hoped to be the running mate for the vice president.
That's what we're going to draw this down to. All of this allegation for on Costa not getting the running mate for Ambassador Boakai. Is that why everything by
No, it does. But the question too is that why Costa waited until this time? Why didn't he bring it to the Liberian people? Because they have been there for a long time. He has been there for a long time. He came to Liberia. They did a lot of stuff for Liberia, and the thing the news has been going around until when it came to the point of this and that. So if he knew truly that Boakai was not somebody to be trusted, why wait until the time he was disappointed to be selected as vice president? I'm not dismissing him. I'm not. Besides, I have always stated I don't trust. If you remember from previous episode, I don't just trust Costa.
But let's move to Reverend Ali. Reverend Ali, respond. If you can respond, Reverend Ali, if you would, please. Let's take Bishop Hagar.
Go ahead.
Respond to these allegations from Boakai close ally or former close ally Herman Pedro Costa. Respond to these allegations.
Mr. Moderator, you yourself, clearly, Herman Costa said that he would damage, in his own word, he said he came to damage Ambassador Joseph Yuma Boakai presidency. So when someone says, I come to damage your presidency or destroy you, you expect the person to say the truth. The person is operating from the position of being vindictive, trying to do whatever it takes to bring you down. We cannot go into that childish play with Costa. Let him go aboard and say whatever you want to say. He said some things. 800,000 Liberians came up. They even went and said, Costa, whatever you say, we will not move us. It will never reduce. In fact, I tell you right now, from all his podcasts, they have galvanized Liberians and make them so angry that they're going to turn up massively on the 14th to vote for Joseph Boakai because they feel that Costa think he can use everybody in Liberia. People are tired with Costa manipulating people because you think he can speak English and you know how to put words together. We don't have time for that thing.
Just to be clear, Bishop Hagar, you're saying all of those allegations Costa is making is false, and he's only doing this to harm the
I'm not even listening to Costa because he said from the beginning. He said he dressed the devil. He gonna undress it. He gonna damage Joseph Boakai. If someone say I'm gonna damage somebody, you expect me to listen to him? We don't have time for that. He himself said it. I'm doing it to damage this person. So you expect truth to come up? So
you're saying that he's lying. I'm just trying to make the comment to that. Are you saying that he's lying? Because I want you to speak. I'm not
saying whether he's lying.
I want you to speak to these allegations.
Beyond all the things he's saying.
I'm not asking you for Herman Costa motivation for his podcast.
We are just said it. You and somebody broke up. You have a girlfriend. You were in love. You broke up. She go about saying all kinds of things. She's saying it on the position of hurt. She hurt, so whatever she want to say, it's up to her. We're not going.
That don't mean those things are not true, though. Well, and that's what I'm asking you to address.
It will be right now.
That is the whole point of this conversation on those allegations.
You're not going to cut me off. You're the moderator. You allow me to talk.
Go ahead.
Yeah, we're not going to say there are important things to do to help the Liberian people, to bring the country, to rescue the country. We're not going to waste our wonderful time to dwell on Charlie's play like Costa. Who is Costa? After November 14th, we address the issues. We want to win the election.
Bishop Hagar, I will stay with you.
Winning the election.
No, Bishop Hagar. Bishop Hagar, I'm sorry for that. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm sorry for interrupting, but I have to ask you this question.
What's the question?
Now you mentioned your care about the Liberian people, you're interested in the well-being of the Liberian people. I think if you truly, and I'm saying you and the Unity Party and Ambassador Joseph Yemambwaka, if you truly care about the Liberian people as you claim, if someone that was that close to Ambassador Bwaka comes up with such allegations, if you care about the Liberian people and you tell them to go elect you as president, your paramount concern should be able to clarify those allegations. That's so instead of you coming on here to dismiss it, you should bring some type of clarification on those allegations, because Costa is not just one supporter or was just one supporter of Unity Party. He had close proximity to Ambassador Bwaka, and you know that.
What is interesting to me is listen now, the billions of dollars meant to put medicine in the hospital that Georgia and his friend has squandered, the millions that were responsible to help our students that Georgia and his friends have squandered. Those are things that will help the Liberian people. Now, we can
walk and chew gum. We can talk about those things and still address those allegations.
Let me learn.
Go ahead.
It's not what you raise money to pay somebody medical bill. It has nothing to do with the Liberian people. We are focused on helping the Liberian people, and that is what we are going to focus on. There's so much corruption, and I like what Georgia did. And Georgia made music for Costa and said, "Liar man." Now he using the liar man. He said Costa was the liar man. Now he was a liar man. Then what you expect? Then who both of them they are liars. So that's how it is. Period.
Let's hear from you, Reverend Addy.
You know, I certainly don't find pleasure in dignifying responding to Henry Costa, but I will take this one advice from Mr. Costa. Mr. Costa told us Joseph Boyka that Jolobo, Joe, we had that poison. That the advice he gave me. That's what Henry Costa told me. And I choose to believe him for telling me that the old man that Jolobo, at least in Liberia, Jolobo can cleanse you. Right? Poison kill you. So I want to follow Mr. Costa's advice. Since he has gone back to his poison,
man, let Jolobo, it's too bitter.
I mean, I let that thing go. They said that they can clean people with my for any sickness and malaria.
It does that too.
Yeah. So for me,
they do better, right?
I rather stay with the advice he gave me that Joseph Boyka that Jolobo, Joe, we had that poison. That's my response to Mr. Costa. Thank you.
So apparently you're now going to respond to the allegations because it's coming from Costa.
I'm not trying to dignify it. You know, I don't play in child's play. Somebody's telling me, oh, they put him near the bathroom. We're talking national issues here.
I think it's national issue. I don't know how it doesn't concern you that.
But so man there with the whole thing.
No, but if anything, Stanton there was he actually confirmed
what we say. Stanton reported to everything he said.
Well, he wasn't. What Stanton did was confirmed that what Costa was saying. No, I'm not spokesman for Costa. I'm just trying. You're being dismissive of the allegations. I don't want you to dismiss it. I think it's important. I think you should be.
Why we become the Liberian after the election? That's why.
Derek. The Liberian people don't want poison. Those who want poison, they can go here with Costa.
Reverend Addy,
yes, sir.
I will give you the time to talk. What I'm seeing here, and this is important, all jokes aside, is you guys are being dismissive of the allegations Henry Costa made. And as much as you say you don't want to dignify Henry Costa for your own personal reason, I understand that. But the fact that you're selling a candidate to the Liberian people that have all of these things over here, and you're trying to run away from it, you're not trying to address it. Henry Costa played both sides. He has somersaulted multiple times in like raw politics. We understand that. But he was very close to Ambassador Bwaka, and he made these allegations that Unity Party people and Joseph Bwaka himself running away from there, not clarifying it. And Bishop Hager here saying that, after the elections we will address that. You're not picking a good picture for Ambassador Parker. And again, I will ask you this question. On those allegations, Reverend Addy. For example, Costa made a statement that he was supporting Parker, giving him $3,000 every month. So for someone that served as vice president, for 12 years, doesn't it concern you that he was living on the money for Heron Costa, or Stanton said the 6,000 came from him? Those are things. If you say don't those things concern you, for you to at least ask Ambassador Boaka? That's what I'm saying. To at least ask Boaka to clarify that, so the Liberian people can have some type of clarification on that allegations. Reverend Addy, let me hear from you.
Thank you. So I think what is much more challenging for Liberians, some, not all, is the inability to see that people can live on their own salary. And because of their kindness to other people, goodwill can come in return. And that's what you find happening now. So we first heard the distortion of Mr. Costa, that he was taking care of the old man, until Mr. Witherspoon came and exposed that lie. You know, and so that is why when folks like us don't want to dignify it, it's very simple. You have a disgruntled gentleman who over and again has flip-flop, and has left the public confused as to his integrity concerning facts. And then you have some folks who are celebrating, oh, go ahead. When he was doing it to us, you guys were celebrating. So it has completely distilled the authenticity of what he's saying. For example, ego has fallen. We have a lawyer here on this platform. You think you can take that text message to quote and say ego has fallen to me, that it had to do with money coming from XYZ? What does that mean? Ego has fallen.
You see how important it is.
Derek, don't cut me off, please.
Go ahead.
Don't cut me off. Don't cut me off. There are those who are celebrating the fact that in his words, he said ego has fallen. But when you put that under the litmus test of legality, what does ego has fallen mean? It's his word against his word. Listen, the honorable statesmen have responded. He said, I forgive my son. I understand he's hurt. And he's done that. And the public has seen that Mr. Costa is indeed disgruntled. He's hurt. You know, he has left the Jolobo and gone to his poison. My only prayer is, you know, he will not become a political Jim Jones, that others wouldn't follow him and die in their poison consumption. Thank you.
Derek.
Yeah, go right ahead. I'll come to you next.
No. I think either you have a phone that is connected to the show, so every time you speak, there's a feedback.
I think it's Reverend Addy. I don't know if he had to, because whenever
somebody have a phone that is on. So if it's on and you is next to
probably so. Yeah, I think it was me.
That's where the feedback will come from.
Well, let's hear from you, Bishop Reed.
So I can speak again if the feedback impeded your hearing.
No, we heard everything.
But you still have it's on. It's still on though.
No, we heard everything.
No.
It's okay.
It's not on. Look, did Derek, man, Mr. Counselor, you got to be the judge here. Eh?
No,
don't like me. Everybody can talk long. As I time for me to talk, you can just cut me off.
You hear the party people accusing for time like 5 and 6. Bishop, you guys do the same thing, so I'm used to it. Let's hear from you, Bishop.
But then somebody still have it because the feedback is still on.
My
phone
is off.
Can you mute yourself? Let's try this.
Okay. Hello?
Well, yeah, go ahead. I think it's fine.
Okay, so then is very added then. Okay, so you please can you reiterate your question?
Respond to some of the things you have said, or Bishop Hagan, Reverend Addy dismissing Heron Costa allegations based on the fact of his character with the strap. And also,
I think what I see happening here is that the answers that is being given is for convenience, because let's draw the curtain. I see when it comes to what Heron Costa has been saying to Omen Boaka, everybody is saying they want to dismiss it. All right, but then when they speak about what's his name, Prince Johnson being a criminal, then they say, oh, but he was also supporting George Weah, and nobody said nothing. So they think that now it's convenient for Prince Johnson to bring his support because it's convenient for the party. When Henry Costa was supporting, it was okay. Now he has crossed over, and I see, people are trying to shut things down. Folks, let us be clear. The fact that Prince Johnson supported George Weah doesn't make it right. The fact that he's supporting Omen Boyka doesn't make it right. We have to hold people accountable. Impunity. So don't feel that the CDC people can say, yeah, Prince Johnson supported George Weah, so it was okay. Now he's supporting Omen Boyka. It's okay. No, none of it is okay. We have to hold people accountable for what they do. None of this is okay. None of it is okay. All right. The bishop was saying something about earlier when he was talking about Ellen doesn't have to endorse Omen Boyka. It's not true. Look at President Biden. As soon as he announced that he was running, Obama supported and threw out, and he even ran campaign for him. That's what President Obama did. And any president would do that.
You didn't have to go look for a video from 6 days ago.
No. So why now, when it comes to Omen Boyka, we are making excuses for Ellen's behavior because it's against us. It's against what is coming to us. So we want to dismiss Ellen's endorsement. Even up to now, she's supposed to come out and endorse him. So we can say all secretly that, okay, so we know something happened between them. Come on, y'all.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves. Let's before we hear from you, Reverend Addy. I'm sure you remember the person in this video at the JMB endorsement. This is what you had to say about Costa.
We're talking different things. You can't say different things, man.
You're making it let long, man. We gotta go, man.
Yeah. Listen, you can send all that to the CDC chat room.
Let's hear from Reverend Addy. Let's hear from Reverend Addy real quick. We're about to get out of here. Go ahead.
Thank you. So if you listen to my speech, I was praising the Honorable Joseph Imam Boyka for giving young people an opportunity. And that one of those young people prominent today was Henry Costa. To be part of leadership. That's what I stated. But let me clarify some things here, because people are making argument as if to say we are not in favor of the legal remedy of crimes committed against humanity. Let's be very clear. The fear-mongering and for political points have often been used by some members within our community that the selection of Jeremiah Coon is the selection of Prince Johnson. That is absolutely false. Completely false. And that is why you are getting the reaction that, but this very Prince Johnson man today that you are accusing Joseph Boyka of associating with Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, coronated George Weah. We are not sanctioning impunity. So we can have such a misrepresentation of the fact. Constitutionally, we got two candidates competing for the presidency of Liberia. All of them got their vice president. Joseph Imam, Vice President Boyka's vice standard bearer is Jeremiah Coon. He is not guilty of war crimes. He's not done anything. In fact, they are all on record that they are willing to institute the war crimes court, including Mr. Prince Johnson. He's willing to do that. Joseph Boyka, General Bucknicky, what's the other guy name? Yeke Koluba. They are all open to the war crime court. So you need to stop saying we want a nation of impunity. That is absolutely untrue. This current administration, the U.S. sent one of their highest envoy to him to initiate the war crimes court. What did he do? He sent it to the legislature, knowing fully well that he had the likes of the very Prince Johnson and those of George Bulley of Rangers who were in the Senate. Today, Henry Costa stated to the public, this is a man who believes in justice, but he tells the Americans, his advice to Prince Johnson, Derek, was, Prince Johnson, if you vote for Joseph Boyka, you will be turned over to the Americans for killing their nuns. If you vote for George Weah, as you notice, when they came, he was able to block them from instituting the war crimes court. Go watch Henry Costa's video. This was what he said. I can imagine what the Americans are thinking now. Wow. So this young man, because of politics, doesn't want justice for our citizens. He is encouraging Prince Johnson to be protected by George Weah. But yet he claims to be friends to Americans. But this is what Costa said. Prince Johnson, you killed the 4 nuns. If you vote for Joseph Boyka, you will definitely be turned over to the Americans. But if you vote for George Weah, we have an example where he protected you for the last 6 years. And when they sent their envoy to Liberia, he also was able to prevent them from instituting the war crimes court. I hope the Americans take note of that.
Thank you very much. And guys, we have to get out of here, but we still have to hear from Bishop Hagar, Mr. Boda, and then Councilor Freeman. Bishop Hagar, it's going to be a minute, and I'm sorry I have to interrupt you after a minute.
Very fast. I told my bishop, I believe you followed the peace accord in Liberia.
If you address me, I will have to speak when you finish.
Yeah. The peace accord in Ghana that brought up at the end of the war and set up the TRC. You know the process there. And the whole nature was that reconciliation was the way to go. They left room for punitive justice, but the framework was to be enacted by the legislature. And we can't force the legislature to make that enactment until Liberian people can vote the new brand of legislature that will pass the law. I think would be disingenuous to say right now that, oh, the other person is a war criminal and what have you. Everybody for political convenience say they're willing. But it is the legislature that's supposed to pass that bill.
Thank you, Bishop Hagar. Thank you.
I just need it for. So let's right now we are in the
reconciliation. You 1 minute.
We are in the reconciliation phase. Let's forget about the justice phase here because it is complicated. It has to be passed into law before you start holding people responsible. Right now, accusing Prince Johnson, you have no evidence. You have not been judged.
Bishop Hagar.
Prince Johnson is considered a hero.
Let's Bishop Hagar.
He is considered as hero. He says so many
Bishop Hagar.
Who would deny that?
You've been talking for almost 2 minutes, but let's hear from first. Let me have Bishop Reeves to rebuttal, and then we'll hear from Mr. Boda, and then Councilor Freeman.
Yeah, I think the bishop here is making a mistake. I did not single out Prince Johnson as a war crime. As a criminal war crime. No, I was not singling Prince Johnson out. I was only speaking to the fact that the party, the United Party and the CDC, they jump when it is convenient. I've made mention of Henry Costa when he was with UP Party. It was convenient for them. They accepted him. When it's convenient for the CDC, they accept Henry Costa. They see Henry Costa who cost them. Prince Johnson, when Prince Johnson was on for CDC or even Ellen, whatever you say, it was convenient. Now he's to Boyka. It is convenient. It's not right. If all of them have these issues, and we know that these guys are dangerous. Because it's politically expedient for us, so we take it and we feed on it and we cover it.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves.
So please, it was not to hit.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves. Let's hear from you, Mr. Boda.
Well, Henry Costa in question. I don't know anybody here can trust Henry Costa.
That today. I personally
have never trusted Henry Costa.
Easy.
Yeah, Liberian people. Like the commenter, I'm sorry, I'll give you a 1 minute, right?
I never trusted him. I never believed in his idea.
Bishop.
I'll be honest with you. I'm not a fan of Henry Costa.
You're taking too much
And
side.
secondly,
You're taking
How
too
am I
much
taking?
side.
How am I taking side?
No, I'm going to file protest against you.
How am I taking side? Listen,
and moderate. You are making a lot of inferring so many things, and it's not supposed to be that way.
You gotta keep the team balanced. I think he's being balanced. I think that's what he's doing.
He's not being
I
balanced.
think Derek is doing well
He's not being
because
balanced.
Derek, you are protected. You are
Derek
protected.
is doing because looking
Thank you very much. I was, Mr. Buddha made a comment, and I was just referring him to one of our commenters' comments here. He said, when you support them, you're the best person in the world. If you don't, you're the worst person. Henry Costa is not new on the political scene. We have heard praises from the very United Party supporters for the person called Henry Costa.
Exactly.
Today, United Party people saying Henry Costa is not someone to be trusted. I just find that very interesting.
We did not do anything.
Well,
to
let's
him,
go. Let's
we did not do anything to him.
So what I'm here's the thing here, right? Henry Costa began a political advocate to fight for the rather Liberian people. That was the COP agenda. For he joined the collaborative political party. We were CPP. When the fall apart, he became part of Unity Party. We accept it. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? Whatever fund he was raising for Mr. Boakai at the time, Ambassador Boakai, to support Mr. Boakai, shouldn't be of anything like it's a crime that Mr. Boakai committed. He did not commit any crime. I mean, if I'm wrong, the councilor here will let me know. If Boakai committed a crime for Boakai raising, Costa raising money to support his aid, if there was crime committed by Boakai, he's a lawyer, he got a legal insight of that. So you raised money for this man because you felt there was a need for him to assist. Not because he was vice president, so he means that he had all the money. He raised money.
Thank you
very much, Mr. Boda. I don't think that was the only thing Costa said. He also talked about the former vice president health condition. He said he has pacemaker. He said Ambassador Boakai is broke to pay for his health expenses. And he want to be president to turn the listen, he said Ambassador Boakai wants to be president to go abroad on taxpayer money to go get treatment. And he will leave the country in the hands of Prince Johnson. Those are that is no question. Those are what he said.
He's entitled. He's entitled when he got help.
The president of the United States does not come outside the United States. Listen, that was what Henry Costa said. That's not me. You see, before let's go to we gotta gather here. Let's go to Councilor Freeman.
Spokesman now for Henry Costa, right?
You see, Bishop Hager, I think you don't want to get that comment what it said. It sounds was sedition now because of what you're saying. But let's see everyone. Let's see everyone. Let's see what Councilor Freeman.
I want to focus a little bit more on the Prince Johnson support. I know that I think Bishop Hagar and Reverend Addy both mentioned that it is Joseph Boakai who is running and Kung as his VP and vice versa as it relates to the CDC. But here's my issue. And I think Bishop Reed also mentioned that it doesn't matter who Prince Johnson supports, still wrong. It doesn't matter who George Bullitt, if he was supporting someone, it would still be wrong. These individuals, I know Bishop Hager mentioned that he has not been a judge. It is an undisputed fact that these men committed heinous crimes in our society. And the only reason they have not been adjudicated of any wrongdoing is because none of our governments have mustered the political will to do the right thing.
Thank you.
They don't need a legislature to pass no law to do that.
Thank you.
We became a member of the International Criminal Court at some point. We can do that.
Thank you.
The Rome Statute provides that the host country can make recommendation to the prosecutor at the ICC to prosecute people who have committed war crimes and crimes against humanity.
Thank you.
It's a serious issue here for Liberia. I think sincerely that one of the reasons we have so much impunity in our country and so much violence is because when the ordinary Liberian person look at the likes of Prince Johnson and George Boley and the other people who have committed so much crime and yet they have not been held accountable, then what's the incentive to be law-abiding? If politicians who are saying they're going to do the right thing for the country will not distance themselves from individuals who have committed so much crime in our country, but instead will bring them within the close circle, then we have to ask ourselves an important question. Will there be true rule of law when this person take office?
Thank you.
I know they say, oh, they'll bring war crimes, but it's not a war crimes court. It's about optics, it's about sincerity, it's about integrity, it's about the goodwill of the Liberian people. So here's the point I want to make. If I were running for an office, and someone has committed a crime that is so terrible, like the one some of those guys did in our country, I want to distance myself from that person because that person does not represent my values.
Thank you.
Prince Johnson does not represent the value of Honorable Bwaka, nor does Buck Naked. They may not have had a day in court, but it's incontrovertible that those men committed heinous crimes in our society. They have no business being in our government. They have no business being associated with decent people.
Thank you.
Let's speak truth when it's important to be spoken. I respect Mr. Bwaka, but the fact is we cannot continue to embrace men who have committed so much crime and pretend as if it's okay only because they support us. So I find it hard to believe that the issue of war crimes still will be important, even in the Bwaka's administration or in the George Weah administration, because they themselves associate with individuals who've committed crimes.
Thank you very much.
Please allow me to respond to the lawyer. Please allow me to respond to the lawyer. No, hold on. Please.
Okay, can I speak now?
Go ahead.
I know everybody want to rebuttal to Councilor Freeman. However, we have exhausted the time for this program.
Thank you. 1 minute.
Do not misrepresent the facts. Counselor, I will be very honest with you. My man, but you
I will come to you. I promise you, I will come to you. You want to go, Mr. Vega want to go, Mr. Weah want to go, and the entire United Party want to go because when they say something about JP and Prince Johnson, they get on defensive. But before I get the opportunity to respond, let me ask you this question because I think one of our commentators want to know. And Mr. Boda talked about it's not a crime for Ambassador Bwaka to receive money from Henry Costa, Stanton Witherspoon, or whoever it is. But I just want to ask you, like, what do you think about former Vice President or Henry Costa doing fundraiser for the former Vice President and with the allegations on him supporting the former Vice President? Just talk to us about your knowledge on the whether legal or just your opinion. Just talk to us on it briefly, and then we'll go to Reverend Adi.
Is that question directed at me?
Yes, Councilor Freeman.
Look, first of all, I don't want to really opine on that. And the reason is because I don't know whether one can really verify what Costa is saying. But let me not focus on the raising money part. Instead, Costa made another allegation. He also alleged something important here. And people say, oh, was a crime committed here and there. Costa is saying, I quote, that Mr. Cummins wanted to meet with Joseph Bwaka in Ghana. And Mr. Bwaka at the time said he wanted a sum of money. And according to Costa, there was an agreement reached and $50,000 or $45,000 was given to the vice president. And then the vice president came by and said, well, can you ask him for X amount of money for my foundation? And then according to Mr. Costa, he says, Mr. Bwaka said, after all, he wants something from us. There's a fine line here. while it may not be a direct evidence of wrongdoing, I think it gives the appearance of impropriety. It borderlines extortion. So let's be careful. It borderlines extortion. Because if you are basically trying to get money from someone on false pretenses, you want to be mindful, because it borderlines extortion. So, I don't know whether, I don't believe maybe crime was not committed yet, but it goes to the issue of impropriety. There's an appearance of impropriety if in fact Mr. Bwaka did that. We don't know for a fact, but I think one can say, well, given his relationship with Costa, we have to take it on face value.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. And Reverend Adi, let me give you 30 seconds to rebuttal.
Excuse me?
30 seconds.
No. Don't, I beg you, don't do that.
I'll give.
Yeah, please. You're the one for you to argue. So as I listen to the counselor, I'm sure in law he understands the credibility of a witness, and that is why you go through cross-examination to verify whether or not what he or she is saying is true. Okay, so until Mr. Costa can genuinely demonstrate impropriety in a court of public opinion, he is scoring political points. Let me come to the issue of war crimes. There are three ways crimes are conducted or resolved. Number one, the United Nations referred that. Number two, the host country referred that. Number three, or the office of the prosecution bring that forth. You being a lawyer, you understand even a criminal is entitled to due process, even though he's committed a crime. What we are saying here is not a justification of the lives lost in the hands of Prince Johnson as a result of the Civil War. We are saying to you here that these people deserve their fair chance in court, and they have stated it politically. They are on record saying it. So let's talk about the politics of disassociation or dissociation. It is a slippery slope, because when you look at the CPA, over 75 civic associations from Liberia pen their signature to that document, the comprehensive peace accord, that turned warring parties into political parties. And Liberians had to make a choice with respect to the evolution of our peace. I was in the war. Those were the choices that we were faced with. You cannot indict Liberians because they made a political choice, so much so to the fact that these choices are still prevalent in our politics today. You are advocating for a utopian society without understanding the complexity of our civil war, and that is why Prince Johnson keeps getting re-elected and re-elected again by his people, because our conflict is complex. Is it right? No. But is he entitled to due process? Absolutely. Are we justifying that he should have committed war crimes? Absolutely wrong. Nobody is justifying that. But let's be clear. All of these men are entitled to due process, and we're looking forward to that due process. Will that political will be there? One thing we do know is, under Madam Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, who had the helm of power, we did not see that come to reality by virtue of the TRC. Under George Weah, it has been kicked down the road. We're waiting to see whether or not the Honorable Joseph Imam-Pweka will have the political will to execute the legal process necessary to punish those who have committed war crimes through due process. So let's be very clear. This is the reality of our politics. Nobody is justifying war crimes or supporting Prince Johnson, but we will certainly reject the notion that the selection of Jeremiah Coon is an election of Prince Johnson. That is fabrication. That is a false equivocation that needs to be addressed and resolved by those who are fear-mongering to prevent Liberians from making a clear choice. We wanted a youthful president to be by the side of Joseph Imam-Pweka. Jeremiah Coon represents that reality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Daddy. 1 minute, Bishop Hagan. 1 minute.
I just want to let the councilor know that our reconciliation process was inspired by what happened in South Africa from the apartheid. The ANC committed a lot of crime as well. Even the apartheid regime committed crime, but they decided to move their country forward. Tom Kamara had a newspaper in Liberia before he passed, wrote an essay in one of the newspapers and asked the Liberian people, what do we want, reconciliation or justice? That is a very critical question that we have not answered yet, because everything that if we're going to go with the power of justice right now in the context where we are, it will impact our reconciliation process. Because I would say that categorically, and people say, oh, Prince Johnson committed war crime. We all agree. But if you take Prince Johnson right now and say we want to punish him, NEMA will have problem. The NEMA county that keep electing George and Prince Johnson will never be happy. Without sustaining the peace, I don't know. So right now where we are, I believe we still have not reached to a solid peace yet. So let's maintain the reconciliation process.
We should stop that thing, man.
Darren, let me just respond this in a few seconds.
Go ahead.
I know Reverend Adi made a few points. I'm inclined to accept some of them, but it's not entirely correct. All right. With regards to reconciliation, the notion that reconciliation is a blanket amnesty is completely erroneous. Just because you have reconciliation does not mean it's blanket amnesty to people who've committed crimes. Sierra Leone prosecuted people through an agreement with the United Nations, prosecuted people in that country for war crimes. Rwanda did the same process Sierra Leone followed through the United Nations agreement. Liberia is yet to follow some form of approach, and Liberia became a member of the ICC since 2004. So look, reconciliation is important, but it's not the same thing as blanket amnesty. We are giving blanket amnesty to people who committed serious crimes in our country.
We didn't say that, Councilor. We didn't say that.
Let's focus on reconciliation. That's what he said. He said, let's focus on reconciliation. And by that, let's focus on reconciliation. That is interpreted as mean let's focus on maintaining the peace. He also said, should Prince Johnson be prosecuted, there's going to be an uproar in NEMA. That also goes to his point. Let's focus on reconciliation.
Yes.
And what I'm saying is, just by having reconciliation should not be interpreted as let's give blanket amnesty to people and turn a blind eye as though crimes were not committed in this country and we should not hold the people accountable. Until we hold people accountable, they should have their day in court. But when are they going to have their day in court if we cannot even begin the process of prosecuting people? When in fact, politicians who are supposed to bring about that process embraces these people.
Yes.
Right? So how are we going to do it? How are we really going to get there?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let's hear from you, Mr. Weir.
So, yes, one thing I'd like to say. In Liberia, I don't think there is anything we have on the books that says that those who participated in the war cannot vote. What I want for to think about here is that we are talking about electing a leader. And all the two people that are contesting are looking for a vote to govern. In order to do anything in Liberia, you must win. The change we're talking about, the TRC we're talking about, the enforcement of the rule that we're talking about, can only be brought about from the top. Prince Johnson has the right to endorse, to vote, because our Constitution did not say whenever you fought war, you cannot vote or you cannot support anybody. It doesn't also say because the person fought war, you can't accept the endorsement. I think the question should be, who is elected, whoever is in charge, is that person capable of bringing about a change? And that should be our focus. So in this context, if you even agree, say you don't want Prince Johnson, you don't want all the other people, in the first place, how are you going to get a supporters of people that support Prince Johnson? So that because you need to get a power before you bring about this change. And Prince Johnson is not opposing the establishment of the TRC.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that because people are making it like Well, Prince Johnson fought war. I can testify that I saw Prince Johnson under the cotton tree on Coward Junction, where he called people. This is what I. But what I'm saying, Shorty, it is not the point, because we have been saying this. Now we got few days to an election. It will not change anything. Is JMB capable of bringing about the TRC? That should be our question. Is he running away from it? But he's not. But that doesn't mean he cannot accept Liberian people that have their right to choose a leader.
Thank you, Mr. John Winkin. We are in guys, we have to let's take a break. But I think if I would just chime in, I think to Councilor Freeman's point and also to your point, you're in support of the Truth and Reconciliation Commission coming to Liberia. But how is that going to happen?
How
is it going to happen? Now, the simple truth is, before President Weah was elected, one of the things people thought he was going to bring was TRC, because one, he never had any business in the war. But guess what? He did not accomplish that. And what was the number one reason? Because he was in bed with Prince Johnson. He was in bed with Prince Johnson. Bishop Hagar, am I protected?
Bishop, stand down. Bishop, stand down.
So if we continue to embrace those people that will be affected by the TRC and think that we're going to get TRC to Liberia, we're joking ourselves.
No,
we're joking ourselves. Because still, whatever you want to the Liberian people, but Prince Johnson, how close he is to Unity Party and Ambassador Bwaka, I don't think TRC is going to come to Liberia and that's just my opinion, honor the Unity Party administration if Joseph Bwaka wins.
Besides TRC, we need rule of law in Liberia.
I understand that. All of those things can happen. You can walk and chew gum. All of those things can happen. We're just saying, given what these people have done, like Councilor Freeman said, no political institution should embrace them because they don't align with their principles. They don't align with their morals. You can't take yourself because they excuse United Party for political expediency. We won't win Nima, so let's bring Prince Johnson in our camp. You're not being serious with the Liberian people. You're not being honest with them. But
and Derek, just 1 point, please. I beg you before we.
Yeah, can you do that very quickly? Yeah, let's take a break.
Before we take a break. You see what Councilor Freeman and I and we've been talking about is you don't limit the thing to the TRC. Look at McGill. Look at McGill. Look at McGill. It was said that he was engaged in corruption. They put him on sanction. McGill is a senator or representative, senator, one of them. Now, the Liberian people did not look at what the guy did. They went and they voted for him.
But exactly my point.
So it is across the board. That's what we're talking about. We're not just.
This is my point.
You guys, wait. You guys are seeing. Wait. You guys are seeing the thing like we are pinpointing particular people because we don't want a United Party. It's not about United Party. It's across the board. Nobody have addressed these three guys. Nobody have addressed them yet.
We certainly acknowledge that, but you said why Joseph Yuma Bwaka associating. So we address that issue specifically. But I will encourage all of you to go read about what transitional justice is, and then we can come back and have a debate. Transitional justice has to do with telling the truth, promoting peace, democracy, and reconciliation, to include justice. So those are the characteristics of transitional justice. And Liberia is on the path to that reality. We had elections. We've done some reconciliation at the TRC, and what remains now is for us to do some implementation of justice. And that is why the United States sent one of his highest envoy, I forgot her name, to go and do that.
Thank you very much. To all of you panelists, thank you for your contribution. But for now, let's take a very brief break. When we come back, we will get we'll first do the icebreaker and then get a closing remark from all of you, and then draw the curtain to this episode. Let's take a break for now.
Maintaining your vehicle can be a major investment. That's why here at Brothers Auto Care, we pride ourselves on providing professional and reliable auto care at affordable rates. Whether you need an inspection, new brakes, or diagnostic reports, our skillful and experienced mechanics are here for you every step of the way. Call Brothers Auto Care now to schedule your next auto maintenance and repair service. At Brothers Auto Care, we help you drive home with peace of mind.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you're joining us from. Thank you for being with us here on the Liberia Radio and Television Network. My name is Derek Yali, and I'm playing host tonight on episode 10, season 4 of the Hard Zone. It has been a really interesting exchange here, heated discussion on issues surrounding the runoff elections that is scheduled for November 14. So we just have 2 more segments to go, and that is the icebreaker round, and then I will ask the panelists here to give you their closing remark. If you're watching us on Facebook, thank you. Please engage this network and the discussion in the comment section, and we'll make sure to highlight your comments as we go about the show. And also, please like, share, subscribe, and follow the LRTN page on Facebook and YouTube as well. Now, guys, for our icebreaker around this episode, just a month from now, the Liberia Football Association will be bringing another edition of the county meet. So, and LRTN is working out the details in the background to be able to bring you live coverage of every single match of the county meet. So, our icebreaker is actually centered around that. And I was told to ask you guys to give your favorite county that you will be supporting, and what is it that you like about the county meet in Liberia. So let me start with you, Mr. Boda. Talk to us about the upcoming county meet. What county will you be supporting, and what do you like about the county meet?
Nothing.
I was not expecting that. But thank you very much, Unity Party supporter. Let's hear from you, Mr. Jao Wiginwia.
Well, in the first place, I will be supporting Sino. I'm from Sino. So I will be supporting my county. But more than that, I remember very well when we were in Negro Town, the county mean actually like at 80 years brings Liberian together in spite of all the differences politically. It's a unifier. So I know people argue, and even somebody will be different political party, but then you playing for your team. So it's very great bringing the people together outside the noise.
Thank you very much. And I'm not done with you, Mr. Buddha. Why you got no interest in the country? You've never watched it. What country are you from? just to put it. Let's hear from you, Reverend Adi. Talk to us about the upcoming county meet.
I will say this much. I was born and raised in Montserrat County, but I took vacations in Grand Bassa because that's where my father's mother hailed from. So I got 2 teams. I got Montserrat County or Grand Bassa County. And let me tell you why I think sports is good. Sports is good because it is an instrument of unity. We come together on that level of love and enjoy the experience of being one nation, indivisible under God, with liberty and justice for all. People come with the purest of heart, recognizing that it is a competition, and they go to support their county. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I don't see any division with having this level of diversity within our culture, and sports can become the cohesion that binds us together, the glue that keeps us together. So I certainly appreciate the county meet all the time when I see it happening. I am reminded of the late Willamar Tolbert, under whose administration I have some vivid recollections. I'm reminded about Samuel Cahyon Dole. In spite of his political flaws, when it came to sports, we came together as a nation. I think it's an excellent instrument of unity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. Let's hear from you, Bishop Reeves.
Well, when it comes to me, I'm connected to several counties. I'm connected to Sino, Bassa, Lofa, Montserrado. So anyone, I just support the best team that, And
you don't support the President County, Grand Group?
You're trying to be political. Just leave me alone.
You want to chime me on this?
You coming home?
Councilor Fremont.
Man, look, man, I'm for the winner. I remember in 2021, I visited Liberia when Nima County won. I believe the county meet, and I was in the Duporo area, right? And the streets of Monrovia was completely jubilant, right?
Yes.
So I supported the winner at that point, and I still support the winner. But I'm from Maryland, so if Maryland wins, I was born in Montserrado County, but from Maryland County. So if Maryland wins, so be it. If Montserrado wins, fine. But ultimately, I support whoever wins, and I think, like Reverend Adi says, a unifier. It will bring the Liberian people together, especially after such a tumultuous election time in
yeah.
Thank you, and thank you, Councilor Fremont. Bishop Hager, I have to ask you a different question. Besides Grand County, what other county do you support in the county?
Well, I will support my Gibi because we grew up in Kakata, even though our parents came from Grand Bassa, but they migrated to my Gibi. All my elementary, junior to high school days were in Kakata. So my Gibi will always be my first preference. And then if Grand Bassa come, I will support Grand Bassa. I've been to Bassa just very, I never spent up to 1 week in Bassa before. All my life I've been in my Gibi. So yeah, so I'm my Gibi man. And that's why we've been voting massively for Unity Party in my Gibi.
Lord.
Oh, look at
Why we gotta drag the election in this? But before I give you guys the opportunity to give
and let me just say about the sport, it's very, very important.
Just do it very quickly, Bishop Hager.
Bring people together. I will hope and pray that the county meet will go above that, where they will have stronger fourth division team. All these different county teams will be transferred to fourth division teams that can really play at different competition. Yeah.
Thank you very much. And before I give you guys the opportunity to close, let me just chime in. My father hailed from Riverside County, but I was born and raised in Montserrado County, so I support Montserrado County first and Riverside County. And on the issue of the county meet, I think it can get better. I think the government of Liberia need to put more money into that competition, also provide opportunities so that those that participate in the county meet, their football career cannot just stop there. And I know a few years ago, they had a government official that participated in the county meet, and I think President Weah won the MVP for the basketball tournament. I think that is wrong. I think they should just allow this to be fun, allow this to be a unifying activity for young Liberians that are eligible to participate in that event. But again, we're looking forward to it. I know Montserrado County eventually going to emerge as the winner in the football competition, but whatever happens in the other competition, I think Montserrado County is going to take it this year. Anyways, to all of you panelists, it's been a very interesting discussion here tonight. And I would like to thank you for your contribution on this episode and other episodes that you have appeared on. But at this junction, I would like to now ask all of you to give your closing remark, and so we can draw the curtain to this episode. I would like to start with you, Mr. Boda, because we are out of time. So I'm going to give you guys a minute and 30 seconds, and I will be very strong on that. I'll have to interrupt you guys if you go above time. So, Mr. Boda, give us a closing remark.
Thank you. I just want to urge our Liberian people that we have come to the point of destiny. And it is important that we make the right decisions. And we have two choices now, especially to the young generation, not to my group of people, because we know what we want. And I think many of us has the opportunity to travel and we're out here. To the newer generation in the country, they know, and you people have followed your leaders that you selected 6 years ago. And I want you to look at yourself. Have anything changed? Are your situation getting better? Or is there a future that you anticipate for tomorrow? So I ask you to look at yourself and judge yourself and make a decision based on how you think you want to be tomorrow. But we're giving you a choice. That choice is Mr. Boakai, which is a seasoned state man who got to understand what government looks like and can bring a change, can unite the country and have a diverse government. So I ask that you vote Mr. Boakai so that we can have a diverse government, united government that will all represent our various constituents and work for the good of Liberia.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Boda. Let's hear from you now, Mr. Weir.
Okay, thank you. My fellow Liberians, Liberia is the only country that binds all of us, regardless of our beliefs, regardless of our culture, regardless of our tradition. Right now, it's not a question of like or dislike. I mean, candidates. We have two candidates. Whether you vote or not, Weir or Boakai will be your leader for the next 6 years. So staying away is not an option. But here I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. Ask yourself, between the two men, who has the ability to create opportunity for you, to give you a fighting chance, so that you make your own money, so that you have opportunity to land. It is not somebody giving you money. You need to make your own money. So that's the question you ask yourself. And for me, as a person, I have seen Weir for the past 6 years. Yes, he was voted overwhelmingly over Boakai in the last election.
Thank you, Mr. Weir. You have exhausted a minute and 30 seconds. I would now like to move to Reverend Adi, so you can give away your closing remarks.
My fellow
You
Liberians,
guys can see the timer behind me, right?
right? No, I can't see it, but that's okay.
Go
So,
ahead.
fellow Liberians, we have argued, we've said things that hurt one another in the midst of this campaign. But there are two candidates in the race. I know people often argue that you want to be neutral. It is your right to be neutral. But neutrality can also mean this, that you may be acquiescent to the status quo of a George Weah government that is currently rampantly corrupt, dangerously incompetent, irredeemably corrupt, and unchangeably irresponsible. These are the words of Alexander Cummings. To my ANC brothers and sisters, we appeal to you all that Liberia deserves better. You know where this country is headed. Students are demonstrating, they are angry, they are upset. We see the disabled people walking the streets being abandoned, neglected by this administration. We saw our finance minister being chased because of the very field policy to put Liberia in a better place for the youthful generation behind us. Tuesday is not far. We have a choice, and that choice is Joseph Yuma Boyka. Vote number 1. For your vote today, as I close, will determine your poverty tomorrow or your prosperity. Your vote is your voice, not violence.
Thank
We
you.
encourage you to join the train. Let's make a difference. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Reverend Adi. And Bishop Hager, before I allow you to give your closing remark. I meant to ask you a question on the show, but I'll give you 30 seconds to respond to that. In 2005, 2011, he told the Liberian people to vote for Ellen Johnson Sirleaf and Jose Yeman Boakai. After that, 2017, he told the Liberian people to reject Jose Yeman Boakai and vote for George Manneh Weah. You supported President Weah. In 2023, today, you're saying reject President Weah and now vote for Ambassador Boakai. 6 years from now, I wonder what will be your message to them.
Well, thank you very much.
And then your closing remark.
Thank you very much. 2017, I was being forced, so to speak, because the Liberian people needed change. We did everything to tell the Liberian people that the United Party was the best. But in 2017, nobody could listen. So I decided, I said, okay, let them experience for themselves. Thank God the Liberian people experience, they're coming back and say, oh man, we're sorry we made mistake. I want to say publicly to Ambassador Jose Yeman Boakai 2017, I'm sorry I made mistake. This time around, we are supporting you 100%, and you are going to be, I know, the kind of leader that we wanted you to be, and you're going to be that.
So
now,
you and Ellen did not endorse him. That's interesting.
Not in my closing remark, my Liberian people, I know George Weah personally. We live in the Ivory Coast when he was world best player. We were refugees. That man never visited anybody. He never helped any of us. He became president. He never did anything for the Liberian people when he made his million. He came and stole your money. He started using the Liberian people money and enriching himself. He came as a broker. 6 years, you see where the country is. Please don't make that mistake again. You gave that man a red card on the 14th and tell him, you use us, we cannot continue to stand this. They hard time too much. I don't have to tell you, they hard time too much. Today they're going around sharing money. They want to give people money for vote because they want to use you. You reject that man, George Weah, and his incompetent government. Vote for Ambassador Jose Yeman Boakai on the 14th of November.
Thank you.
And I truly promise you things going to change around, your life going to improve. Thank you so much. Let's reject this incompetent. I said the man don't never love Liberian before.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Now that we're done with the message from the rescue train, let's hear from you, Mr. Reeves.
Well, I want to thank God for all of you on this panel. It has been a healthy discussion. I just want to say publicly to the Liberian people that we do not want people to give us false hope about anything that we think will happen when we see all the writings on the wall from both parties. I don't want us to come and promise the people this will happen when we know very well that those things will not happen. The Liberian people need to have a change of mindset. From the presidency to the legislature to the judiciary, they need to have a change of mindset. The Liberian people themselves, we need to have a change of mindset. And then we will see clearly to begin to do the things that we need to do for Liberia to move forward. I want to thank all of you for the time, and we will remain hopeful that as we continue to engage the issues and engage the subject, people will learn some things and they will begin to act on them. I want to thank God for all the panelists and for this particular station for helping the Liberian people to benefit. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reeves. Now let's take you, Councilor Freeman.
My message to the Liberian people is power is inherent in you, the electorates. You have the power to elect your officials. And so therefore, my hope is you should continue to hold them accountable. There are too many of our people in Liberia, government officials, who are not held accountable. When they do wrong, we reward them with more power. It's not going to change the way things are done in that country. And it's definitely not going to change your living conditions if you continue to do that. But I also want to speak directly to the political leaders. The rule of law is the bedrock of any society. Right now in our country, there is no rule of law. Everyone does whatever he or she wants to do, and almost nothing is done. We cannot continue to govern like that. Whether George Weah wins another term or whether Mr. Bouaka wins the election in Liberia, no matter who wins, the rule of law should be very paramount. Because if you want investors to come in that country, they have to be convinced that they will be investing in a country where there's rule of law. It is important for our growth as a country. It is important for our sanity as a people. Let us all do what we can, particularly leaders, to enhance the rule of law. It is important for the people of Liberia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Freeman. And to all of you panelists, Mr. Martin Boda, Mr. Jawinkin Weah, Reverend Addy, Bishop Reeves, Bishop Hagar. Bishop Hagar, the show finished. C'est fini. We were here for over 3 hours. Over 3 hours. The show over. To those of you watching us, we will be back here next Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And don't forget, the election is on Tuesday, November 14, 2023. Voting places might open at 6 p.m. and close at 5. I don't have the exact schedule. But yeah, remember to go out there and go vote. Before I draw the curtain to this episode, let me bring you this announcement, which is much of a reminder. One of our panelists will be doing her book signing on the 11th of this month. So you'll be reminded to, on November 11, 2023 at 10 a.m. at the Mountain Library, second floor, Bill Simpson Room, 159 E Market Street, York, PA, 17401. So our own panelist, Mrs. Grace Goa, will be having her book signing, The Life, the Laws, the Legacy Through a Daughter's Eyes. So we would like to have you reminded of that. And the LRT will be fully represented there. But again, guys, to all of you panelists, thank you so much. To those of you watching us, thank you for your contribution today. Well, at this junction, I would like to say that wherever you are, have a pleasant good evening.
Thank you.
Good night, folks.
You talk about us.
Don't talk, check it, that's something to talk about. Don't talk, check it, that's something to talk about. Last year, we get us something to talk about. This year, we get us something to talk about. Next year, we'll get us something to talk about. If they ain't talk about us, who they will talk about?
And my bitter, y'all won't know, y'all can ask me. Leave my letter open book, but y'all can't read. The girl go to school, y'all hear your school fees. We're not even in court, y'all won't judge me. Bad energy, that lack cool energy. That is nigga bring jealousy and envy. Old enemies recruiting new enemies. New enemies recruiting old enemies. Broke enemies recruiting broke enemies. I getting rich, so I need rich enemies. Me, I here to enjoy, satisfy myself. I've been there, done that, a record there. So y'all know the face of Minnesota. The man are on the news all over Minnesota. New baby daddy on the block. The only cool man that can make winter hot. That's a fact. I live in a brain and I pay rent. No money. Oh yeah, I pay 1 cent. I got a master bedroom in a chat room. Everybody got my name, just like iPhone. My girlfriend gave me portrait, I gave her diamond ring. Don't worry about my wedding, now you're pinning it for me.
That's right. Don't talk, check it, and something to talk about. That's right. Don't talk, check it, and something to talk about. Last year, we get something to talk about.